And welcome to Saturday Football Live, and I'm delighted to be joined in the studio with Des Roach and Gary Thompson. Gentlemen, how are we today?
Oh, good. What can't be good? It's a sunny day.
Superb, yeah.
We're stuck in a
I'm
sweat
just hoping
box.
these lights give me the same kind of suntan as it gets into my back door, but never mind.
To be fair, it has been a tremendous week this week, hasn't it? I bumped my balding apple quite a bit, to be honest. So it's been good. It's been enjoyable. But in terms of the west of Scotland, it's been another interesting week. Last week, Des, we spoke in the car on the way up the road. I was a bit flat, thinking there's absolutely nothing left to play for. We could have about 6 or 7 teams for each league getting promoted, maybe no relegations, and that's all changed. It's all changed as of Thursday, which is quite interesting. But before we get into the show, remember, if you want to get us on WhatsApp, you can get us on 07396 717 412. That's 07396 717 412. Or you can get us on SAP Football Live on Instagram and X. And also, we're on East End Community Radio. So make sure if you're listening to us on the radio, then you're checking out other shows the guys have, because it's a great station that they're running here. And we're got our sponsor in with us today, guys, VSN, the top guys in the west of Scotland. So if you're looking to get your club some new kit, then don't forget to give Gaz a shout. I should have the number. Yep, it's running along the bottom of the screen. That's the number you want to get Gaz on YouTube. So give a shout on that. Right, gent. This week is... Can you sum up what is happening in the west of Scotland?
I think if I could sum it up, I wouldn't be sitting here.
You're a better man if you can, Des.
It's just been, as you said, last weekend we were doing the show, we're talking about games, not knowing the relevance that it was going to have. This week, it's like the leash has been let off, games count again. Is it only us that can make a mockery of a farce and a farce of a mockery?
Guys, you being a man who does go to a lot of different games and you're involved in dealing with a lot of different clubs at this level, what's the view for you guys with this? I mean, how ridiculous? And do you know what? Before you even answer, we still don't know what's happening with Darvel and Johnson Borough.
I know.
I mean, what's your view, guys? This is ridiculous for me.
No, I agree, and I totally agree with Des. It's probably the best way you could put it. If you knew more about this, you'd be sitting somewhere else talking about it. But I think it's a joke. Let's put it to bed. Let's get these games getting played, and let's get this league run the way it should have been this season. They've done so well with the West this season. I think they've been a great brand. They've promoted it well. All the leagues have been competitive to a degree. We're looking at the first, and I joke that the first has been the greatest league in the world. Get slaughtered for that one, but but yeah, actually, for me, leave it as
It's like when VAR came in October of the season it came in. You need to know when you start the season on day one, day one to day end, this is the situation that you're playing under. This is what you're playing for, and these are the positives of promotion, and these are the negatives of relegation. You cannot change that mid-season.
No, I mean, there's too much that rides on things for too many clubs to do this in mid-season and expect people just to accept that. I couldn't see this ever going through mid-season. This is something he's talked about for a long time. The infrastructure needs to be put in place. They need to figure out who's going where, when, all that.
You need at least 12 months.
Yeah, at least
12 months consolidation and conversations where people say, right, okay, this is the setup we're going for. This is what we propose, and these are the guidelines that you need to
meet. And a lot of these teams and committees have had long-term plans in place. They've been thinking about the next 5-10 years, what the structure's going to be, how they're going to get to where they need to get, and then suddenly the carpet could have been pulled under a lot of these teams, and your plans are out the window, and a team at 2 leagues below you, or whatever,
Well, that's the thing as well. It looked a week ago. I mean, literally sitting in this studio, it looked a week ago that it was the dunnest of done deals. I mean, everything I had heard from reliable sources, it was done. Everybody was happy enough. All the leagues were happy enough with it. And then everybody started to get their head around it and started thinking, right, so we don't know exactly who's going up, but we know. And you're looking, if we get new teams coming into the league, and then we're thinking, I mentioned Josh Gardner, obviously. I mentioned the show quite a few times, myself and Josh's mates. We were talking during the week. and it's looking like the promotion might be gone for them in the top three unless they basically win every game at the end of the season. But Josh was saying, I don't know whether 6 is going to get me up. He says, 'cause if 6 gets you up, then we're in a position where we can get promoted. He says, we'll play to try and get that third spot.
Okay.
But he's like, I don't know if 6 gets me up. And now it looks like it definitely doesn't. And it's just, for me, it's so... And I want to make it clear in terms of, this is not a West of Scotland committee issue. This is not their doing.
No.
And for anybody who isn't as clued up, I'm saying that as if I'm in the know, but
More and more.
so it looked like it was done last week. It was just the final details that were going to be getting agreed upon. The league, the West of Scotland, were looking like they were going to decide after promotion and relegation of who would sit where, because I also heard that the Midland leagues were looking to get teams into the East, which meant the boundaries may have changed, which meant that less were potentially going to go in from the West into the Lone West. So that meant the Meda probably weren't going to make it through.
Right.
And it meant that maybe one other weren't going to make it through. That's why they were waiting to see if Darvel got relegated, Co-winning, and Glencairn get promoted. Then would have jumped ahead of them. But then this week, Thursday, the meeting happens and Lowland League vote against it. 8 against, 7 for, 1 abstained. I'll say who I've heard, the rumours are Cowdenbeath or potentially East Stirling. That was who abstained. Could be wrong on that. That's not clarified completely. But we have that issue. So it's looking like it's not happening. And the working group, the Pyramid working group, met yesterday afternoon. Apparently the West were putting a new proposal to them. But it's got to be done for me this season. And it also it's got to be done. And it means next season could become a damp squib for the West of Scotland and the East leagues.
But see, if you know that,
but you know, if you know that top 7 gets you promoted, then that's just what it is. And but it also allows for me looking at it from a West of Scotland point of view. See if they need to bring 7 new clubs in, you have a year to decide the criteria, who's going to do it, who's going to and have meetings. And
this is where it has much larger ramifications. Yeah. It's not so much the guys who are going up, it's the teams who potentially come in and the teams who potentially drop. That's got significant impact on it. See if you take it, strip it even back. What about players?
Yeah.
Players, if you're trying to sign a player, what we give you win next year?
Don't know.
Could be the second division, could be the Lone League, I don't know.
Yeah.
So how are managers meant to then pitch that to? You've
also got the problem, you get clubs that had applied for the SFA licence. The SFA are now not taking applications for licences. St Caddick, for instance, have been through the process, I think, of getting their licence. Are they in a position? Would they have been in a position to go to the loan? Things like that. So if they're stopping the licence application just now, I don't know. I mean, it's all, put it to bed for this season. Let the teams refocus on what they need to do for the next, the run and just start again.
I think that what needs to happen now is the whole structure from the very, very top has to readjust, has to meet. Next season is 25-26. For me, that can't be touched. If anything at all, I was probably went 27-28 before he probably.
Do you know what the core problem for me is? I'm actually for the reconstruction in terms of promoting West and East.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. But the issue that doesn't even need to happen. All you need to do is stop the horrendous promotion and relegation, League 2 into Lowland League and Lowland League into the 3 leagues below.
Yeah.
If you take that away, then the Lowland League is perfectly fine as is.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine as is. The bottom 3 go down. The winner of the East, West, South go up. That's fine. That's your 3. And then
just make it accessible.
And then the top team definitely goes up with the Highland League team.
Yeah.
And that's it. It's
all done in sport meritocracy. It's not because you've got financial backing behind you. For the SFA even to suspend licence application now, is that itself have a wee bit of a worry?
No, I totally agree. Yeah.
The SFA who had this proposal for a Highland League for a year. They've had it for a year.
Never mentioned
and it's only been brought out the last couple of months.
Yeah.
I mean, why is that the case? Why was that at least not being discussed at the start of this season?
Yeah. It's got to be.
But look, we'll come back to this. We will 100% come back to this. It makes today more interesting because I was devastated last week when I thought, how are we going to get another 5 or 6 shows with nothing that really matters, and now it all matters again. So it's back on.
You can see the wee spark on your eye back.
Honestly,
like that.
I'm so happy. I mean, I've come in, and I hope Toby's listening. He's no done my interviews for me. He's no put the VSN advert on for me. I don't know what's happening. But hey, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy because it's promotion and relegation back on the line, and it's brilliant. Clydebank, congratulations to them last week, winning the league title. Congratulations to Knights for getting promoted. Today we're looking at possibly the Thorn getting promoted. We're looking at Port Glasgow getting promoted. Nothing against Campbelltown, but I hope Tam and the boys can get it over the line because I've been buzzing for them. But before we get to any of that, let's look at this week's PG versus the Pundits. I was updating it a wee bit earlier. I still need to update the goal difference. But I'm sitting, we've had 13 weeks. I have won 1, drawn 5, and lost 7.
And you were lucky to get that one.
I think so, yeah. Somebody's gave to you that day and just felt sorry for you, I think.
Aye.
It's definitely me, because I think I've won every one.
Aye.
Right.
Let's see. I'll have a wee look at it with Gary. So, Gary, the 18th of January, yourself and Des beat me 5-4. Then on the 8th of February, yourself and Josh beat me 3-2.
Yep.
And on the 1st of March, yourself and Johnny beat me 3-2.
Yep.
And on the 15th of March, yourself and Bez beat me 5-4.
Yeah, I'm either the lucky one or I'm just riding on the back of all these great football guys that are
me.
It's beyond embarrassing the fact I have won 1 out of 13. But I've never lost by more than
one.
So listen, I won now, one's still a win. So
what I mean from next season is I'm going to brush up on my quiz because Des is killing me with the quiz.
Well, we'll see how the quiz. I think
he's got quiz stuff, and I'm not.
He's going harder today, I think, because last week he wasn't happy with how I cruised it. So
he's dug deep this week.
I think he has.
Not really. I do like it.
He did tell me in the car there was a question he was going to put it, and
he still got it right.
No. I got it right. Putting into just a notification on my watch there. So I know it's no for real show, but it looks like it's 5-1 to Celtic after 42 minutes.
Wow.
That's quite a game just in the road. So, back to the Lowland League and the West of Scotland League. Our featured fixtures this week are Gallagher and Broomhill, which I think is an absolute doozy. It's a doozy because Gallagher could get relegated if they lose today, so it's very interesting. In the Premier League in the West of Scotland, we've got Gartcairn and Auchinleck Talbot. First Division, Mabel and Arthurlie. Second Division, St Anthony's and Lanark. Third Division, Thorn and Kilstraith, and as I touched on a couple of minutes ago, the Thorn won that to get promoted. And in the 4th Division, we have Kello and Carluke as Kello try and push to get themselves that final promotion spot. Guys, first game, Gallagher and Broomhill. How do we see it going?
I spoke to Xander recently. He was in getting kicked from school, so we're going to chat to him, and it was interesting getting a chat because we, been slightly involved with Broomhill when Gomsey was there. I think it's been a tough job for him taking over at Broomhill. I think they'll have enough in them today. I think Broomhill will take this today. Also, Gallagher fighting for their lives. So I'm going to lean with Broomhill. Don't know what Des is thinking. I'm hoping he's going to say the same. But yeah, I think Broomhill will take this today. I haven't seen much of him, but just from listening to Xander, the energy he's giving it, I'm hoping the boys can do it.
Yeah, I've not seen Broomhill this year. Also seen the results and watched what's happening. Broomhill and Gala have got a very similar record this year. There's not a lot between them.
It's just one
goal, Gala. That's one thing.
But can both concede a lot.
Yeah. I'll team up with my colleague here. I think Broomhill will have just enough to get it through.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go Broomhill as well. I think that they've had an upturn in form. I know they lost last week, and we'll hear from Xander about that, but they've had an upturn in form last wee while.
It's going to take him time to settle in it, do you know what I mean?
Their goal difference is worse than Gala's, but if Broomhill get a draw, they're 3 points in it going to the last game of the season, and it now means something with the fact that if Broomhill lose today, then they're looking at potentially getting relegated next week, and they will become a West of Scotland team, which is quite interesting for us and our listeners. It'll be the first time that we've ever had anybody come down into the West of Scotland, so it's quite interesting. But I think that they'll get a win today. And we'll touch more on that once we've gone through the rest of the games. Des, Garp, Cairn and the Talbot.
I know Ryan McStay's also in last week. They've got a positive reaction from it.
Yeah.
Talbot, you wouldn't bet against Talbot against anyone in our leagues. They are coming off also losing to East Kilbride last week in the Cup. I've got a feeling this one could be a draw. I don't like picking draws.
Really?
I don't like picking draws. If I was going to go for any team, I would always back Talbot.
Yeah.
Just because I think they always get the job done. So, I'm not going to sit in the fence. I'm going to go Talbot win.
Yeah. I mean, I can see why you could potentially get a draw out of this. As you said, with McStagan and last week, a couple of weeks ago, you're going to see a wee upturn on Cairn, and I think that could be a potential draw. But you're right, it's hard to look past Talbot. And am I right in saying I got Cairn at home? No, I'm going to I'll go with Des, obviously. Yeah, I'll go with Talbot. Yeah.
I'm going to go with Talbot as well. I think that we'll see. The Talbot have been excellent for the last wee while. I know they lost to East Kilbride, but East Kilbride won a treble last week.
They're a good team.
They're a very good side, and that's something we'll touch on as well. The fact that they won the league and then the double for the cup, that they've been so impressive this season.
It's no shame on them.
Look, and the thing is,
a lot of teams about East Kilbride.
First division. Quite an interesting one after Mabel getting a great one against Colwynn last week. Atherley having a bit of a blip of recent with a new manager coming in as well. Mabel and Atherley, guys, what is the view on it?
I don't know. I mean, Atherley also had a good result in the midweek there against Ashfield. I know Ashfield have been it's been tough for them. Peter struggled getting into Ashfield. But if Atherley want to do anything this season, they need to win. I think with the new manager getting in, I think they'll get the result against Maple. I think it's going to be a hard push. I think they're going to drive them on, but I think they'll do enough today to take this. But this is big for Atherley.
They're getting to the stage where
they need
to. Don't get me wrong. Look at they're only 7 points behind Renfrew with 7 games in hand. But see if you lose 2 or 3 of those games and Renfrew can win a couple of games, it becomes a completely different ballgame. If Renfrew can beat Glencairn today, which is a massive win, which could have went down as a featured fixture, but I've had Renfrew 2 weeks in a row, so I thought I would move on to somebody else.
Well, that's why I think this is a bit of a momentum changer for Atherley. They get something today.
They have to.
I think they would not easily go into get
the favourites again.
100%. I think they're putting themselves in a really good position to get 3 points today. So, and it's a big game away from home.
So they've been through a bit of turmoil. Let's be honest. A lot of turmoil on the pitch over the last 2 weeks. But as we've all quite rightly said, this is now when they need to turn up. This is the business end. And if they've got aspirations of being back to a Premier League club, which they should be, we
said that at the start of the season.
Scottish Cup finals last year, a great backing. They now need to turn up. Games in hand don't mean points to the bag.
No.
So they've got to turn up.
Particularly in this league.
No, God, no.
So I'm going to back Kevin Rukovic and Atherley should win this. And if they don't, I can see it spiraling.
That I would totally agree with, isn't it? If they don't get it today, there's going to be a lot of doubt. Every game's going to be a slog. It's going to be hard for them.
And they do have a lot of games to play in a reasonably short period of time, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm going to back you as well. I actually fancy, part of me is saying a draw, and I've quite enjoyed what I've had George on. His interviews are great. I spoke to him yesterday as well, and he's Johnny's mate, so he's kind of a soft spot for Mabel now as well. But I'm struggling to see past Atherley today, so I think that Atherley will get the points required.
I think this will show this game today will really show the character.
Because you look at Mabel, they get an important draw against Kilburn, who Kilburn have been sucked right back into it 2 weeks ago, and then the great one against Colwynn. Colwynn look like, I'm not going to say the wheels are coming off because they're only a couple of games away from being top of the league and being champions potentially, but they're maybe finding a bit of pressure in terms of trying to get themselves across the line. Second division, we've got the Ants against Lanark. Des, who do you think in this one? I think I know you're going to go, but who do you think?
I've got to think Lanark. I just think that St Anthony's again, just talk about Arthur in that season of upheaval. There's a lot of changes at St Anthony's. The new managers went in, he's tried to have an influence. I think what we'll see, the work that Montgomery's going to do will be in the summer. That's when you get a chance to have an influence on it. I just think Lanark maybe a wee bit streetwise, and they'll have enough in them to get the win.
I mean, 100% agree with Des. I spoke to him earlier in the week. He popped into the lot to pick up his official managers line coaches kit. I think he's wanted to bring his own line in managers kit. But look, I love Monty. He's, as I said the last time we spoke about him, the guy's high energy. I like guys like that. I vibrate kind of high energy myself a little bit. So yeah, listen, it's all about next season for him.
I agree. Yeah.
He's got to get himself. He's obviously still got a bit of work to do this season. Right? He's got to get out of that wee bit of the danger zone. But I don't think the day's going to do it.
Because you look at, he's got a good knowledge of 20. I think that I think the Ants are going to go down. Right? But he's got good knowledge of 20. But you look at Max Wright in for the Lone League.
Yeah.
He's also brought Scott Anson last week, who scored. And Anson, he's getting on a bit, but he knows this level. Do you know what I mean? He will score goals. He's been a good
stand out in the cup final last year. He's a cracking centre forward.
He's been a good player for a long time.
By the way,
that's just what they need
at that level. Centre halves are not going to be an easy game against them.
And when you're trying to just kind of rebuild, sometimes you just need that structure, that core of the team. Somebody that can be a wee bit more of maybe an old school centre forward.
And do you know what? See if he's there next year, Big Scott signs up, which I don't think the local lad for down there. Getting the younger legs.
That's what Paul mentioned that there. He's got such a wealth of knowledge in a development league. So
the big issue for me with, like, obviously Craig Mark are starting to pick up a wee bit now. The games they're losing are tighter. They've won a couple of games recently, which is great for the club. I'm really pleased for them, but they're already gone. They're relegated. Well, not officially, but they will be in the next couple of weeks. But the Ants have played three more than Les Mahago. The Ants need Cambuslang to crumble. But there's 4 points. 4 points between Cambuslang and the Ants. They need a slip there. Moving on to the third division, the Thorn and Kilsyth. I think this is a particularly interesting. First and second playing each other. The Thorn win, they get promoted today officially. We know they're going to. Likelihood is they're going to win the league anyway. But Kilsyth, I think, have been really interesting, and they battled Greenock in terms of the scoreline. And I think that they're a team who are really pushing for that one of those two spots, and it's quite interesting to see because they need to win as well with Greenock having games in hand and Ardale breathing right down their neck.
I mean, Ardale are on a push as well, so you're right. This is going to be an absolute cracker today. Both conceded the same amount of goals this season, which is phenomenal. 39 goals each, but Thorn are scoring a load. I think that's going to be the difference. Obviously, when pushing for promotion, this is the thing. This is a game that could just. It goes one or two ways. The nerves kick in a little bit. Maybe Kilsyth pushing a wee bit hard. I kind of see past Thorn, but I think they'll take this today.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think
it's too big a game for them.
I think they've shown all season that they can score a lot of goals. I mean, they've scored 82 goals. So they're plus 43, which is a lot of difference. It's a lovely sunny day. If you can't eat yourself up to win a day like that, this is really something
special. You've also got the thing, it's a home game for them. The Celtic game will be close to being done, but Rangers aren't playing. You've got to get a good crowd at this for them. And I actually think I'm torn between a draw or a Thorn win.
To be fair, if I was playing today,
definitely. I'm going to go with a Thorn as well. It's looking like I'm not going to lose this week. Is it tactic? I'm too late in the day. I'm too late in the day. Fourth division, Kello and Carluke. Des, what do we think on this one?
I think by the mighty fact that they're home, and Kello's a great surface. Carluke will get the travel. I've got to go Kello. I don't don't really see that as being a particularly difficult one. I might be entirely wrong. Luke could come in and put it all to bed.
I think you're right, Des. I think Luke would need to come out and play a bit out their normal selves. I think Kell would have this again. As you say, great stuff. It's a bit of travel for Luke. Kell pushing hard for the points. Kell for me as well.
Well, Kell, I mean, last week the 1-2 away from home at Eglinton, which it's not a big result, as in scoreline, but it's an away win.
Yeah.
Against a team who are competitors.
Who are on there. And Carluke have come off a 4-0 beating from Port Glasgow, so they're constantly be short. I think what Kell will be looking for is they want a goal early and settle them down.
Yeah.
And that'll be in the back of the minds of Carluke players as well, going, wait a minute, we could beat 4-0 last week.
I think that that Carluke are a bit like Royal Albert just now, that they're good enough to go and take points for teams, but Kello are 10 games unbeaten. They lost to the Port and they've gone 10 unbeaten. A few, maybe too many draws in there for their liking.
But going unbeaten,
but they're 10 unbeaten, and it's a big one for them. Where if they win today, they go into 49 points. Rossvale, Easterhouse, Eglinton, they're all in a position where it's getting really tough. Rossvale are playing Royal Albert, no guarantee there. Royal Albert might have had a bad one last week, but they're still a really good side. You're looking at Easterhouse playing St Peters. St Peters are flying right now, so this could be hugely important for Kello. So I'm going the same. So I have not lost today. We have a draw today. Do you know what we'll do? Next week, you'll pick one, I'll pick one. Right, we'll do that so we'll know. We might end up with the same, but so in the games we've got Gallen Broomhill. We've both gone Broomhill. Gartcairn Talbot. We've gone Talbot. Maybell and Arthurlie. We've gone Arthurlie. Ants and Lanark. We've gone Lanark. Thorn and Coastside Athletic. We've gone Thorn, and Kello and Carluke. We have gone for Kello. So that is how it's going to go today. We've got a draw. So I'm happy with that. I just wonder how many we'll get with that.
Tell you what, I wonder what was a bookie would do was.
You mentioned that the other day because something just came flying right in my head. Why didn't you think about doing something for charity? Probably we could do beat the Pundit and stick a wee something on it every week, and if it comes up, we stick it at charity.
I'll get in touch.
Nothing mental.
I'll get in touch with Mick Bookie then.
Right, nothing mental, but we can pick our selections. We do a wee phone call, so it's all legit, and then we just stick it on, and you never know. We could be giving something to charity at the end of the season, and we could be having to donate ourselves because we're always at picking games, but it could be something.
I think that's something we should definitely look at, because I remember I told you about when me and Dak did that with Bookie, and I forgot to get somebody to put the bet on. I put the bet on, won £1,500. Had to pretend it was somebody else that won the bet.
Now that none of us are officially involved, we're allowed to.
Enjoy a wee flutter.
Again, we could think about what charity could benefit here, and we could do something good for somebody else.
Do, as you know, I love a shameless plug, but this one's for a good cause.
Go for it.
As some of you may have seen when I put it on social media, that I'm doing ultra marathon on the 21st of June. Running all the Glasgow-based clubs, so I'm going to run each ground. I think it's 16 grounds. That's something I might actually go for to see if you can actually name every ground that we're going to. And it's going to be 30 miles, roughly 30 miles, so it's an ultra marathon. Myself, Des is going to cycle with because his knee will allow the run.
I'll drive if you want.
That would be good. And we also have Paul Manager. Stuart Maxwell's going to do it with us as well. So it's for a great charity, the AT Society one. It's close to my heart. So if you threw some tweets, I'm going to put it back out anyway to see if people could donate. It'd be greatly appreciated. But we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we'll start to look at the fixtures in a bit more detail and hear from some of the managers. But look, stay tuned with us. Remember, you can get us on WhatsApp. I'll give the number when we come back. You can get us in the comment section on YouTube. And you can get us on X and Instagram as well. But look, we'll be right back after this break.
this season. Last one I'd seen them was up at the Trinent game at Christmas time.
Yeah.
I think that they're well drilled. They've also got a lot of backing, very, very professional. See, going winning 3 trophies in a week. Let's be honest. It's not a bad week.
Pretty convincingly as well.
Yeah, and I think that from the Lowland League, they are probably best prepared club to take that step up. And I don't think they will go up to the SPFL and struggle. I think they'll
go strength to strength. And East Kilbride, they obviously have the financial backing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever been hidden that Mick and Si as well are very driven in terms of where they want the club to go. I think that with the size of the town as well, it's the biggest town in the country. I imagine the support's going up and it'll go up if they can go through the leagues. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right? So you look at, for me, I think that since Mick's taken over at Darvel, they won a league title there, which was a tremendous achievement. Then he's won 2 league titles back to back at East Kilbride. He's won a couple other trophies. I think he's won 5 trophies at East Kilbride, right? So it's tremendous. Now, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
I know where you're going with this.
Yes.
So the year they went up from the first division, in my eyes, and I know Mick will disagree, and if he hears it, then I'm sure I'll hear from him, right? But in my eyes, Blantyre were a team, if one had to go up, it was, I understand why 2 went up because of how close it was. It was like half a goal, basically. So fair enough, I understand. And I'm glad they went up because they obviously improved the Premier League and then went on to win it, which was tremendous. But they lost to Trinent, which there's no issue in that because I think that for the West of Scotland, we were maybe arrogant in terms of saying Darvel should go and beat Trinent. Trinent have clearly proven they're a very good side. They lost that. Then they didn't have to play Brora last year due to Brora's issues, so they played Stranraer. Again, not an easy game, but they lost that as well. Now, I've seen them a couple of times, and I like the way they play football. They're very open and expansive and play great style of football. And I think they've shown that they've got the mental capacity to go and win trophies, as I've just rounded off quite a lot. But what do we say if they lose the playoff this time? What does that look like for East Kilbride?
I think it would be a massive kick in the teeth if they didn't see it through, and I do think they will see it through. I think what it will really do is, would Mick want to be there again? Would they want to? How many attempts?
Where else should it go?
Exactly. So it's a really, really difficult situation, and that's why they do not want to be in that position.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I just think that they are well prepared.
Oh, I mean, they're perfectly set to go.
Oh, definitely.
And I think they will go up. And as you said, East Kilbride is the biggest town we've got in Scotland. Their commercial ability will only go up. Their attendances will only go up. I think it's actually really unthinkable that
if that's key for East Kilbride. If they don't go up this season, who they go up next season? Is Mick there next season?
Look at the managers they've had before as well.
I think this is massive for them, and you only hope it's not going to be the same case as it's been.
I really hope they go up because it's very much like for me for Clydebank in the West. They're the best 2 teams suited to go.
Oh, no, 100%.
And I really hope they can see it through this time. But Brora is going to be a really difficult challenge. I mean, that's going to be a really tough tie to get through.
And you don't know what you're up against. You know, I'm an amazing League One this season, but you're playing against the same teams. You know what you're up against. You know the level you're playing against Bora, and it's a different beast. They've got to go into that, I suppose, just with the same attitude they went into the rest of the season and the cup finals. But I think it's key. It's crucial for them to go.
I agree, and I think again it falls into they've had this sensational season. I mean, they have hands down deserved to be going up.
That goes for nothing if you.
And if you could potentially lose on a couple of games, and that's I understand that's how the playoffs work now. But they're league champions; they should be going straight into
I agree with that,
and I think it's no right that they have to go through, and Brora have to go through this process.
That's where the reconstruction has to take effect,
and the accessibility needs to be there.
Yes.
Club 42 should go down.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think I'm all for clubs 42
and 41
going down in club 40. Having to then do a playoff against
correct. So you get one straight up in a second playoff.
Well, they don't mind having the playoff for 4 teams to go up. They don't have an issue with that, or 3 teams. Sorry, they don't have a problem with that. 3 teams trying to get themselves promoted.
But it's the clubs who are voting for it. So the teams who are in the
it's like Turkey voting for it.
That's you've just taken the.
I know.
Taken it away.
But look,
because how many years did we see East Stirling being at the bottom?
I know 5 or 6 years in a row. And you're not telling me East Kilbride are better than these clubs.
And the crowds that attract. The quality of players that attract.
It's the infrastructure. It's everything. They're showing that they've been through the processes and they're doing it in the right way, and they've been phenomenally successful with it.
I think it would be brilliant for East Kilbride to go up because, like we said, they're the best geared for it. The potential expansion is so much bigger than anybody else that you really are looking for me that there's only a few clubs that Clydebank and East Kilbride are a different level for me when it comes in terms of fan base.
Everything, exposure, fan base, profile, infrastructure, everything.
See if you put Clydebank into the SPFL Division 2, they'd be told their own.
I know.
We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. So there's not a team that you could probably pick a couple of teams that could go up and quite easily compete.
You get the financial incentive as well, so you give East Kilbride even more money to go and spend what they need to spend.
And let's be honest, if they do go up, they're going to get more sponsorship, they're going to get more backing, the profile is going up again, the academy grows, the people want to be involved with the club. It can only be a good time for East Kilbride in the town. But to me, and you guys the same, it's absolutely key to win this. Because if you don't, you can win all the leagues and cups you want. You're going to look at that game, and that's the one that's going to that's going to get.
And the frustrating thing is, you can win that league every year, but if you don't win the playoff,
East Kilbride have won this league 6 or 7 times.
Yeah. And East Kilbride will give the 3 trophies up to beat.
Definitely. We'll move on to Broomhill and Gallagherdy. So I spoke to Xander Diamond last night. I've asked him how he feels about the defeat last week, which was, considering the way they've been playing, obviously they'll be disappointed they've lost to East Stirling, a team who I think they would have fancied beating because they went and beat Trinent 2-1 the week before, which was a great result. You know what I mean? They've beaten Trinent, they've drawn with University of Stirling, narrowly missed out to Bo'ness. They've drawn with Berwick, they've drawn with Hearts, they've beaten Bo'ness, they've beaten quite a few teams recently, and they'll give themselves a really good chance. But it all hinges on today. And to be honest, I spoke to Xander about is there extra pressure because the Tier 5 reconstruction isn't going to happen. So this is what he had to say on it.
Something that has entered my mind or I've thought about, to be fair. The game, that's what I'm focused on, the game. And it always has been that since after last week's game against East Stirling. The focus all week has been on the team and preparing, as I've always did. Whether that's the first game of the season, whether it's the last game. I understand that, if we go there and we get the 3 points, then we know what the outcome will be for that. But for me, I'm looking for a reaction from my team. And to be fair to the boys, when they've had a wee bit of a setback, they've actually come back and they've answered the questions that have been laid down to them. So, all in all, the team's prepared. We as a coaching staff feel we've got the right information onto them regarding Gala. And hopefully by 5 o'clock on Saturday, we're the ones sitting with the 3 points. And it's a journey back home to Glasgow that is happier than what it was last week in the change room.
I don't believe you, Xander. there's no way that that's not changed the landscape, because if
Of course it has.
last week it looked like you were safe regardless, now if Gala, and it's down at the borders, if Gala can go and get the win, then Broomhill are bottom of the league. Their goal difference is a fair bit worse, because even if it's 1-0 today, that's a -7 goal difference, so you're not catching that goal difference. You need to better Gala's result next week. And looking at it, Broomhill next week, they have Civil Service Strollers. That's not an easy game. That's Civil Service are quite a decent side. They're sitting 8th in the league. Gala next week, who are they playing? They are up against Gretna. That's more winnable than Civil Service for me.
Yeah.
Aye.
And I think that it's not as much travel for them as well.
Exactly.
Gretna are only 8 points above them.
I know. So that's a much more winnable game. I appreciate Xander's not going to go, oh no, we're actually quite worried now because this has changed. But it's got to be a big factor.
That's one of the things we talked about at the start of the show. That mindset flip. You know, as you said, he's sitting last night having a glass of wine, probably on Saturday, going, pressure's off. This is all going away. We can start to rebuild, look at different things.
Yeah.
And now he's back going, oh no, I'm got a relegation battle.
A minute.
Aye. So I think it's obviously tough getting into the Broomhill when he did this season, you know, having to put his mark on it, rebuild a bit, get some players in. Hopefully it's starting to settle in for Xander. I like Xander, he's a good guy, and I like to see him as a good. So let's hope Broomhill can do it. But it's a very, very big game. And I suppose for Xander it's going to be a great test to see where his team's at.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've said that in all the featured games, a lot of characters got to be shown today from all the teams involved. If Broomhill have got serious aspirations to A, remain where they are, and B, progress next year, they've got to show up.
They've got to show up,
and
this is the time to show a manager and show people what you're all about. So yeah, big for Broomhill.
I think something we need to take into account as well that we've not mentioned is Cumbernauld Colts.
Yeah.
They can get dragged right in. They can still go down. They can get dragged right in. Their goal difference might help them.
I bumped into John Doyle at the Pollock game was it last week, midweek, a couple of weeks ago. Just got a brief chat with him. You know, I think they're feeling quite positive about things there. I think there's a couple of good results going their way.
It's Bonus. I think it's the Bonus,
which
it's a tough game.
It's
a tough game. Bonus are a good side. They need to go and get something. I think that they're fortunate that the Broomhill and Gala are playing each other, which gives them a wee bit of breathing space. That
they're hoping that they take points off each other. Or they won't be hoping for a draw there. Somebody still gains a point.
They need Broomhill to win.
They're looking for Gala to take nothing.
You mentioned Cumbernauld Colts. There's nothing between them and Broomhill.
No,
I mean nothing. You could throw a table at goals or in a game.
But both -27.
Yeah, so there is nothing between them. So yeah, that's an interesting.
But you also have the Berwick get put into this. I mean,
there's always potential.
Berwick have got Broxburn
and
Cowdenbeath the next 2 games. Yeah. You're potentially looking at a couple of teams getting put.
To be honest, that relegation battle in that league's between 4 or 5 teams.
I mean, Gretna, they're obviously safe.
Yeah.
They're safe, mathematically safe as well. But yeah, you're looking at 4 teams. I know Berwick and Cumbernauld, for me, are slightly better positions, even though Cumbernauld are the same points as Broomhill. They're slightly better positions in terms of Broomhill and Gala playing each other. But if Gala go and win today and Berwick and Cumbernauld lose, you've got 2 points separating 4 teams get into the last game of the season. And it's anybody's game.
That's squeaky bum time.
It really is anybody's.
For me, I really don't want to see Berwick sucked into it. They've got a soft spot in my heart. Anytime I used to go there, you were always looked after so well. The committee were great. It was a really nice stadium.
It's a great place to be.
It was a great place to be.
I do like clubs like that.
But to see where they are now,
it could be an East of Scotland team.
Yeah, and that to me, Berwick Rangers is synonymous with being a professional Scottish team.
I know.
We talked about this before. For me, Cowdenbeath, things like that. You know, they're all professional Scottish teams.
But it shows the level because I put a tweet out yesterday about I've done it the last 2 days about the reconstruction and stuff, and we've had a lot of feedback. So I appreciate everybody that kind of joins in on comments on it. But Mick Kennedy, obviously Scotland manager, comments on it as well, and he got sucked into a conversation with somebody who was saying that, I think it was a bit of cross wires. Basically, the person who was making the comment was saying the West teams have enhanced the Lone League, and Mick was very much like, well, the Lone League's a good quality in itself, and I think that it shows that it is a good quality because you've got like these teams, Cowdenbeath, Berwick struggling. But on the first person's comment, I also think that the quality is good because you've got so many of the East teams in it, and you add the West teams in, it becomes a different matter again, and it's really interesting.
And it was interesting talking to Fez a few weeks back when he was on and saying that, you look at the West and you look at the Lone League. The Lone League's a wee bit more your kind of academy style football. Your younger guys. You look at the West, maybe a few guys long in the tooth. Some younger boys don't know how to cope with that kind of thing. It's a wee bit harder. So yeah, that's an interesting way to see it. But yeah, I think the Lone League, the quality, as you said, is spread between the West and the West and the East. You're getting all the quality you can from both sides of the country. So it is a quality league. I think the West, yes, would help strengthen that league. There is teams that could help strengthen that, but I get where Mick's coming from.
Because it's a good quality. It's a better quality league than it was 5 years ago, definitely.
And hats off. There's one thing you say about Mick, he's no shy in the conversation.
No.
And if there's an opinion to be said, there's a lot of managers who'll shy away from that and worry about what people think about them and what they've got to say about the game. But one thing to Mick, he'll no shy away from these conversations, and it's quite refreshing to get somebody like that as well.
I always think, like, we're here for a reason. We've got an opinion.
Yeah.
Opinion on football, primarily the West of Scotland football, obviously.
Yeah.
But we just love football. So there's no issues with people having different opinions. Air it, discuss it, get on with it.
And that's how that's what it's all about. And it's great that when you're putting these things out that you're getting Mick and different people all engaging with these things and talking about it. And
it was great when I put it out a couple of weeks ago. Mick disagreed with me on it, but a couple of weeks ago when I put out the original comment, 150,000 views on it, which was nice, which shows there's a level of interest at this level, tier 5, 6. It shows there's great interest. But we'll move on to the West of Scotland Premier League. We've got Gartcairn are at home to Auchinleck Talbot. Ryan McStay and Darren Barr are in at Gartcairn now. It's a good win for them last week against Largs, against an informed Largs side, and it was down there as well. So I think that showed a bit of character after.
That's a really good result.
And I think that it shows a good bit of character for them to go and get that win. It also takes them at the relegation zone. Granted, it's only on goal difference, and they've played more games than if they're below them. So it could switch so quickly. I mean, you look at it in the Premier League today, you have. They're playing the Talbot, obviously. Then you've got Pollock playing Benburb. I know the Bens do quite well against Pollock generally, but Pollock are in form. The Bens look like they can't buy a win for love nor money. You mentioned Cumnock and Shotts. Cumnock are in a right good bit of form as well. And then Darvel and Beath, that's quite interesting. I think
that's a big game.
That's one that Sean Dillon's came in, or officially been announced as manager, and he does well last week. Is that one that Darvel are looking at? They should maybe try and go and get a win, because I think that they're probably the best placed out of that bottom 4 to go and get a win. Because it's funny, you're at this stage now where you're starting to forget about Hurlford. You're starting to think, well, Hurlford, they're playing Johnson Borough today, but they've been doing so well late that they've actually opened up a right good gap and could be, in my eyes, they're probably safe now.
I think they're in the position now. They're in a really good position to stay safe. I think the bottom 4 this week, they're key games for all of them. They all need to get something out of their games. Gartcairn, you're obviously going to get a wee bounce back. You've got the new management team coming in. You're going to get that wee bounce. So yeah, I think they could get something out of the game. Shotts today, hard down at the bottom of that end of the table. I think it's going to be tough for Shotts against Cumnock, as you said. Cumnock now good bit of form. And Darvel's this the time to get beat.
Exactly, it might be. I'm going to play. Spoke to Gartcairn co-manager Ryan McStay. McStay chinned me last night because he says you've come to me because I don't like doing voice notes. Said to me last week, because we made the joke that he was he maybe reading it off or something. He said to me last week, he went, "I think that's the first voice note I've ever done in my life." So let's see if this is any better. I asked McStay if the if there's extra pressure, similar to what I asked Standard Diamond with the fact that reconstruction looks like it might not be taking place, and now Gartcairn really need to start picking up the points. So ask them if there's any extra pressure on today's game for them.
We always say reconstruction is a major distraction for me and Darren. Obviously one day you care what's going ahead, next day it's not, relegation isn't happening, so we're going to stay up. Next couple of days, a few days later, you can tell relegation is happening. But again, after last night's vote, I'm still to be confirmed if it's definitely off. But again, it's good to get some clarity, and it's basically down to us to try and keep this club in the league. I've always said to Darren and obviously the players, it's against us, because we've obviously played 2 games more, or roughly about 2 games in hand. But again, with the quality of kind of squad, we feel as if we can go and win 4 and 5 out of the last 6 games, and we have a great chance of staying up. So again, if it comes out the day after the meeting that it's been put back to the following season, then we know what we need to do in that changing room. But also, we've said to the lads, we need to train with the same intensity that transfers into the game, so it gives us the best chance to achieve 3 points.
I think he's right in the sense. I also think he did better. Thought it was a better one for him. So well done this week, mate. I think that he's right. They do have a squad that could go and win even 3 or 4 out of the last 5. I think that they definitely have enough quality. And obviously, we're going to touch on the Talbot. It's a very difficult challenge for them playing the Talbot. They've got Glenafton, they've got Glenafton next week. Sorry. Then they've got Troon back to back, and then the big one is Shotts on the last day. Glenafton and Troon don't have anything to play for. Talbot don't either, to be honest. You've got 3 teams who really don't have anything to play for, where Gartcairn are fighting for their life. It could come at the final day against Shotts, which would be really interesting to see how that pans out. You know what I mean? And what do you think, Des? Do you think that they've got enough quality where they could go and win 4 or 5?
Absolutely. They've got the quality of players that have been there all year. Yeah. It's just the consistency, what they've shown. Had points deduction as well, which would have made it entirely different. Is it out with the realms of possibility to go and win the next 4 games in a trot? Absolutely not. They've got enough quality within that squad, and you would expect them to go and win it, particularly now with the new managers coming to the end of the season as well, because they all have really, really high demands. Yeah. I mean, Dan Barr's won the Scottish Cup, he's played international football. Ryan McStay's had an absolutely fantastic senior career as well. So these guys would put enormous demands on what they expect. I think that Gartcairn are fine. I would anticipate that the current 3 that we see sitting at the bottom, unfortunately, will be the go down.
I can agree with you, Des. We've talked about this a number of times on the show, that Gartcairn at the start of the season brought in a team to compete to win that league. Yeah. Now, that's not the team you would have picked to be playing in relegation battles, but the quality's been there all season. Obviously, it's just been hard with the deduction. Obviously, things changed at the club slightly then when the mentality changed from a promotion to relegation battle. But I think they'll have the quality to win at least a few of their upcoming games. So yeah, Gartcairn I think will be okay.
That was the game today that I almost picked for the draw. You said at the start, because I can see how sticky it might be up there. I know we'll win for Talbot. That's probably right that we'll win, but take away the other games. They've got Shotts in the last day of the season. Yeah, I think there's going to be enough quality, and certainly should be. I mean, they're on 16 points, the exact same as Shotts, and the exact same as Benburg, which is unbelievable. Davil on 15. So you've actually got 5 clubs separated. 4 clubs separated with 1 point.
In that same fact, they played 2 extra games in the Bens and Shotts, so they need to get these a couple of results out of these games just to start putting a wee bit of light.
The ones that I feel sorry for, not sorry for this, the ones that I fear for are Benburg. I mentioned that last week. At this moment in time, they can't buy a win. The 2 Winners brothers are obviously working their socks off, but it just does look a wee bit negative. And they're away to Pollock today. I know they get results there traditionally, but
it's not a great place just now, Pollock, to go. The pitch isn't great, and I know there's 2 teams playing on that pitch, but you know, it's not like Pollock to have a surface like that, so it's a tough place to go.
Well, Des, you say what you told me in the car today.
Yeah, we spoke about it. Paul put a statement out last night about the state of the pitch.
It's got a
It's got a
disease.
fungal disease.
Yeah,
on it,
no,
yeah.
I've heard that a while back, which you're fighting an uphill battle because you beat your games to play on it. You can't stop to maintain the pitch or
Yeah.
try and fix it. So, you know, that's understandable. These things do happen. But, you know, from a guy who got, you know, that was my team growing up.
And it's always been historically, it's been a very good park.
Oh,
It's-
it was always.
I always loved playing there, even though it's got a wee bit of slope and that. It's always been really
you know,
a
they
good
like
surface.
to the grass a little bit longer than certain times, but it was a beautiful place to play football. I didn't get to play junior level there, but played 21s and that.
It might have been good to play on. It wasn't good to referee on because Pollock fans absolutely destroyed me.
Guaranteed fans there as well. You know, that's all a good thing there.
In fact, one of my favourite games ever was the Scottish Junior Cup semi-final, 2009 it would have been.
Right.
It was a Clybank Pollock.
Right.
It was a beautiful day like today. The place must have had
1,000 people.
easily.
Aye.
Pollock get beat.
It's your fault, Des. Always.
It was
always you're going to be your fault then,
It
Des.
was quite ironic because when I went back to work there and worked with Maxie, I think it was the only time it was actually welcomed into Newlands Field.
Don't chase out.
No,
That's Fox and all that. Yeah.
that's it. No, I'm okay there. But again, the irony, my grandfather played for Pollock.
Oh,
he was a goalkeeper for Pollock.
Goalie and a ref, honestly.
That's it.
Questionable family, that lot.
That's it. No, a player between them.
No,
Crazy family, that's what.
I actually think that for me, we're getting close. We're going to go on a break in a minute, and the games will be kicking off in a minute as well. I think that if Darvel don't win today, then I think that they're in a bit of bother. To be honest, I think that used to knock himself. I think that Darvel need to try and go get something today, and if they don't, then they could be in a bit of bother.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's massive for Darvel. It's been a tough job for Michael. I've seen a bit of his interview with Paul the other night. But yeah, I think he needed a result. If nothing else, just to get the mood back up a bit in the place.
I actually fancy Darvel today.
Yeah.
I think they've got a great chance as well. To be honest with
You
you.
say this is the time to get beat.
Aye, and I think it's been really refreshing. I don't know Michael, but it's been refreshing the way that he's spoke about things, and he spoke about the incident that's still outstanding.
Mhm.
He's got a really positive attitude.
He does that.
It's not the job that he's come into that he expected. I've went through obviously a wee bit of fluctuation. I know Sean's went in there just now. Obviously, we wish him all the best, but I've just got a wee feeling. I think Darvel.
Yeah, and I think Michael's been good. I was at the development final last Friday night, and it was Darvel St Cadix. Now that was a really, really good level of football. Two really good development teams. And if that's what Darvel have got, just sitting in the background there, they've got a couple of good players there that could fit in next season. So I think the way Michael's looking at things, yeah.
Nah, it's fair.
I just
Look,
think it's
we're
an interesting one.
going to take a quick break. or you can get us on YouTube live right now. You can fire any comments away in the comments section. If there's anything you want to ask myself or the guys, then we're more than happy to answer any questions. So we're now at the stage where games are kicking off in the west of Scotland. We should have the updates coming in as we always do. We've got a few people at the grounds who are giving us updates. We'll have our interviews or our updates at halftime as well, live from the grounds. So I think we're going to have an interesting day today. Gents, we're going to move on to the first division, the feature fixture, Maybole and Arthurlie. We've touched on Arthurlie having a bit of inconsistency. Obviously, the new manager coming in as well. Guys, what's your view on the whole situation at Arthurlie? Because they're at that stage where they weren't paying players as well, which is it's not a great situation to be in.
No, it's not. And it's a shame to hear a club in that situation. I think it was quite refreshing as well, whether people thought it was right or wrong from Colin to say what he said. I think sometimes when you feel aggrieved and you've got that opinion, just get out there. You know, it's a bit of therapy for you. It's going to be, I think, after obviously bringing in a new manager, they're just going to try and bury this a little bit, aren't they, and just try and move on. You know,
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I've just seen.
Already?
No, we've just had a comment earlier. It's a few years old. I've not been on the Twitter in a bit. From our channel WSFL Build Up, Paul Adams. So he's posted a wee bit of information. There will be no change next season in terms of the setup. So that is guaranteed. It's staying.
So what did I say? I said 26, 27.
So it's going to be
be
26, 27 when we start to look at a change.
With my crystal ball. If you've got it, you should be looking at the lottery numbers.
It's actually quite refreshing to hear that the sensible decisions been made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So good on you, Paul, for that.
Aye, so well done. A good wee breaking news for us. But
Good stuff.
so back to
Arthurlie,
Arthurlie.
I mean, I think new manager coming in, they're obviously just going to try and put to bed all the issues they've had over the last few weeks. They've got these games in hand. We've talked about it. You're better with the points in the bag. That is massively key for them. If they don't get the result today, I think it leaves the next few games, difficult for them. If they get the result today, I think that's probably just enough to push them on, and they'll continue a wee bit of momentum. So I think the new manager coming in, hopefully we usually see that reaction from the players, and he will be hoping for that in spades today.
I think what's difficult for the new manager coming in is
Under that cloud, obviously Colin's come out and he's made comments regarding what was apparently going on at the club, which isn't nice to hear.
No.
But the new manager, how much time is he actually getting to coach the players? Because they get so many games, midweek games as well. Really, the influence that he's having is how much he can manage and motivate these players and get these players buying into him. Because again, none of these players are his signings.
No,
they've all got a loyalty to Colin. So
sorry to interrupt you there, because we're only a couple of minutes in, 3 minutes in. So we talked about Ardere and how important that is for Ardere to go and win games. They're playing Glasgow United today. 3 minutes in, they're 2-0 up. 2-0 up after 3 minutes. Harvey Gilmore with one of the goals. Yoker won up against Whitlets in the second division. Massive. It's Dom O'Donnell. Kev's with him. Yep. So that was the first minute of the second minute of the game. In our featured fixture in the fourth division, Kello are 1 up against Curluke already, so that's a big one for them.
Yeah, what did they say?
Early goal.
Kello have to come out and get an early goal.
You nailed it.
Then that puts the.
I'm telling you, he's
on it today. That's how I just went with the same results as you.
I'm only ever coming on a show with Des again.
A big goal in our featured fixture in the third division. Kilsyth have taken the lead against the Thorn. And Cumnock are 1-0 up against Shotts. So Cumnock really turning on.
We kind of thought that Cumnock just been playing over the last few weeks.
I thought
Swifty seems to be getting a tune out of them just now.
It's taking time, and you know, me myself, I've been quite critical of Swifty and Cumnock, and you know what? I was told by one of the committee at Cumnock very early on in the season when it really was quite poor. He's like, he won't be getting the sack this season. He says he'll get time, and you know what? It's looking like it's working. And credit to Cumnock, who they've put a lot of money in. They could have went, we need a change.
Don't get that enough time to put their standpoint to start making their mark. So hats off them.
It looks like, I mean, that That would put Cumnock on to 32 points if they win today, potentially putting them in 8th place.
Yeah.
I'd say that's a pretty solid season for them, particularly based on how the season started for them.
Yeah.
So that is quite a big one.
And it's a whole new squad that he's got as well.
Yeah.
It's a whole new.
No, that'd be a good result. I mean, I don't think it was a great shock from the win today, but yeah, another good start for them.
I know, I agree. So Mabel and Atherley. Mabel, I'll just play what George Wallace, the Mabel manager, had to say on the fact that they've picked up, which I touched on earlier, the 4 points in the last 2 games, the draw with Kilburney and the win against Conan, which was really impressive last week. So I also asked George, do they have a points target that he thinks will keep them in the division? Because as it stands, they're a point clear of Rob Roy. Blantyre and Ashfield are already relegated, officially relegated after last week. But they're a point clear of Rob Roy, who are playing Ardrossan today.
They're in exactly the same goal difference as Rob Roy.
So, I mean, it's very interesting. Both on -9.
Yeah.
Mabel ahead on goals for, but even that's pretty tight. So here's what George had to say on that.
Say things are starting to go in the right direction. The last 2 results. That's mainly due to having a squad to pick for and players. And before I had to go into the 20s, and they boys have helped me massively this season. But now I've actually got, for example, let's say men to help us out. Still got Conan favours every week, but we're beginning to build a wee bit. We're getting there. Still just 1 game at a time now. The more is another. Every game's massive. 6 massive games to try and stay in the league. That's the goal. For the targets, I've no certainty targets. It's just 1 game at a time. 3 points is what we go for every week. It'd be hard to beat, and it's just 1 game, win, 1 game, win. That's all we're looking for, because we don't know what we've got to need. Everybody's beating everybody, to be fair. I wouldn't say there's a stick-out team that I've come across yet, but obviously I'm only newly in. There might be a couple that I've not played. But as I say, the more is massive. We've not the loss, so we just go for it. As always, I keep telling that the boys, go and give me everything you've got, and then if I can't ask for anything less.
I like George. He's nice and honest.
Oh,
I like that. Let's
to
be honest. It is. I do believe they are in a position where it is a game at a time. They are very much a game at a time. But I think that they're in a position as well when you're picking up points and the players start to get a bit of confidence. And I know we were laughing last week that they've got Tiz and Davy Gillis up front, who I think is 87 between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of experience, a lot of age, but there's a lot of experience there as well. I think that they could maybe start to look at picking up more points. I don't know if today's going to be the day for that. Obviously, we've both backed Arthur, but they've got quite a difficult run in, because next week they've got Renfrew, and Renfrew are in a good bit of form.
Yeah.
They've got Petershill the week after.
Yeah.
They've got Thorneywood. They've got the Rock.
Teams up the top end of the
Every team there are trying to play for something. I think that Thorneywood and the Rock might be out of contention by the time they play them. But then you've got Irvine Meadow on the last day. The Meadow, I think, will be out of contention for relegation by that point as well. They had such a good time under Jamie.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to see where it goes. In the second division, we've got quite an interesting one at the bottom end of the table. Craig Mark are 1-0 up against Les Mahago. So Les Mahago, that puts them under a bit of pressure. Craig Mark, it's great to see them starting to pick up points and be a lot more competitive.
You looked weeks ago, they're sitting in 3 points, you're thinking this is good. But to see them turn that around a little bit, get some results, is great. And yeah, Les Mahago, I don't really like this one, but yeah, they're
two big goals in the first division. Fraser Malcolm slides in from a Conor McLaughlin cross to put Colwynham 1-0 up against Petershill, and Renfrew are 1-0 up against Glencairn. Des, who's the scorer? Come on, we were talking about him last week at length.
Talking about last week at length?
We spoke about him quite a bit. Last week we were talking about having a quality of this player.
Scott Long?
No, Jojo Gillespie. New Mains have taken the lead against Eglinton in the 4th division. So it's actually a corner's gone in. I'm watching the highlights there. Corner's gone in for the Renfrew one. Glencairn look like they're going to break away. A bit of Stramash, ball goes out wide. It's whipped across face by Jojo Gillespie, straight into the bottom corner.
By the way, let's see if we Renfrew get a result away from home there today. That's massive. That's massive, because everybody and everybody expects Renfrew to pick up points at home at New Western Park on the AstroTurf. But they're a really, really good side. Jimmy's got them going well, so and a wee win today would be
And
absolutely
there's a
massive.
wee update there, see, Paul. So that's Yoker 1-0 up against Vitlets.
Oh, we already said that.
Did we?
And you actually answered that.
I want. Oh, so I did. Yeah. Sorry, I'm
Do you know the
5 minutes behind on
I
Twitter.
think we're talking about
I'm
the
just
first
trying to
division.
catch up here.
Do you know the biggest game that I think
Oh, we did.
that could have an impact on it? I think the Meadow Lightside game.
Yeah.
Because Lightside are
They're in proper bother, and we're going to move on to the second division in a wee second. But I think that if Renfrew win today, right, because they've obviously played more games than everybody, but they're at the stage. Cowannon beat Petershill and Renfrew win. Renfrew are 9 clear of Petershill, who are 4th with played 1 game more. They're not getting caught for Petershill. Right, so Petershill are done. If they beat Glencairn, they are 6 points clear of Glencairn in 3rd place. Glencairn have 3 games in hand. That's tough. With it, that Cowannon, they're looking like they'd only be a point behind with 2 games in hand, but it's still tight. Renfrew I think Renfrew are doing so well to keep themselves in a position of potentially going up, because we even look Arthurlie are probably going to have enough to see it through to get one of the promotion spots. I think Cowannon will probably get a promotion spot as well. Renfrew, if they win today, they're in a position where they may be putting themselves in a place where you think they might get the 3rd spot.
I think they're wholly in the melting pot. Cowannon are expect to win up. I think I don't really have an issue with Petershill like you. I don't think they've got hope in it anymore.
What I would say with Glencairn, after Renfrew, there's 2 ways of looking at this. After Renfrew today, they've got Vela Clyde, who are fighting for their lives, but you would think maybe beat them. Thorneywood, who are still fighting for promotion. They've got Rob Roy fighting for their life. Kilburney fighting for their life. The Meda might not have anything to play for by that point. And last day of the season, Blantyre Vicks. So the last 2 games of the season could be vitally important for Glencairn. And I think that could be the games that might get them up, because the other teams won't have anything to play for.
But I think Glencairn are always the perennial bridesmaids.
Mm.
And it's not. And Martin McBride, who is playing as a good friend of mine. It's like even when we got the Scottish Cup a few years ago, they just seem to not with fancy ways and not getting across the line.
I mean, they're in a really good position just now. Do you know what I mean? They've still got those 3 games in hand in Renfrew, a game in hand in Kilwinning. But as you said,
Shots have just equalised. Against Cumnock, so it's now 1-1. Girvan, in their fight for survival in the 3rd division, have taken the lead against Lugar. It was Jack Gordon with the goal for Shots. Good on the Gordons. Petershill have just equalised. Alex Cassells has scored for Petershill against Cowannon, so it's now 1-1 there as well. There's so many twists and turns. I think that Cowannon have got no chance of getting promoted now. We'll move on to the 2nd division. Spoke to St Ant's manager Martin Montgomery to see what Monty thinks, and I've asked him about the pressure that is he feeling the pressure with so few games remaining and them having played more games than pretty much everybody else about them. So this is what Monty had to say in it.
I think at this stage of the season, there's always going to be pressure, and we're obviously no exception. I mean, the reality of the situation is we're knee deep in a relegation battle here, and as I spoke about last week, the opportunities to get ourselves out of that are sort of disappearing week by week now. But that's for the same. That's for the same for teams at either end of the table. For different reasons. I think if you look at our league in particular at the moment, with the exception of maybe 4 or 5 teams at most that you can maybe say are maybe safe, but no quite in a promotion fight. The rest of us have all got pressure for one reason or another, and as I say, we're no any different. I'll always put pressure on myself to try and win every game that we play in anyway, and I kind of also believe that sometimes if you can channel that pressure in the right way, it can actually be advantageous to you, because I think the players in particular need to realise the situation that we're now in.
Well, he's talking about channeling it in the correct way. You're looking at Les Mexico have just gone down to 10 men and they're 1-0 down to Craig Mark in that division. So that's the team directly above them. Fourth have just gone behind against Bells Hill. So that's fourth are behind them as well. And so you get Les Mexico and fourth, both losing as it stands. The Ants get a win today. It maybe pushes them on. Canvas Lang, they've got a tough game against Lark Hall as well. So if the Ants can get a win, which is a big if, then it could be really important for them.
I don't even think it's enough. They need a win today. They played 25 games. Teams going about them have only played 22, so there's games in hand for these boys. The Ants need a result today.
Definitely. Big goal in the third division. Is it going to be Thorns Day? They are 2-0 down.
I still think they'll come back.
It's early.
Glencairn have just scored against Renfrew, so it's now 1-1. So that's very interesting in the first division. Giffnock have taken the lead against Saltcoats. Starting to pick up a wee bit of form, Giffnock. Back onto the second division, though. Yeah. I think that you look at, we've spoken about the Ants, but looking at Lanark, they've played 2 games more than Muirkirk and they're tied in points on, but Muirkirk are in a bit of bad form as well, and maybe the pressure's getting to them a touch. Whitlets are currently losing. I think Whitlets are 9 points clear, and Lanark have got 2 games in hand. So Whitlets lose today, Lanark win today, 6 points with 2 games in hand.
That's good.
Is it out with the realms of possibility that they have a wee outside chance of winning the league, never mind getting promoted?
I suppose it is. I mean, when you're in that position, as players yourselves, do you want to hear that? Or do you just want to play every game as it comes and then it gets to that stage where it's like, right, boys, now we really do have a chance? Or do you kind of highlight that now and really drive them on to look, we have still got a chance of winning this?
I would say they've probably no thought about winning the league at all.
No.
But see if results go their way today, then they maybe start saying a wee outside chance. I mean, you look at...
Look, boys, a bit of focus and a wee bit,
Because Nielsen are playing Maryhill as well. And Maryhill have... They beat Whitlets, they beat Muirkirk.
They're a hard team to play against.
And it's at Lockburn.
Yeah.
I mean, that's interesting in that second division.
Aye. I think Muirkirk, what they've got in their favour is their naivety.
Yeah.
I think if I was the manager, and I know we spoke to them a couple of weeks ago, I'd be playing on that. And saying, guys, you can win this.
Yeah.
You can win this.
You've got nothing to lose. You just go for it.
Nothing to lose.
There's no pressure on you. There's no expectations.
Exactly. Nobody's got expectations on you. Where
it frees you up a bit, doesn't it?
When you look at Whitlets and Nielsen, who were set up to win the league, that was their prerogative and their priority.
And you feel that
at the start of the season.
Yeah.
Muirkirk, a team of under-20s.
Really, yeah.
Come on.
I know.
Go for it.
Overachieving.
And so I would say that inexperience and not calling the players naive. I'm just trying to use a word that's.
But that, it's essentially what it is. There is a naivety there. They've not played at this level. They've not been in this position where you're currently potentially fighting for promotion out of the first division, second division into a really strong first division. So, it's a good test for the players to see where they're at that level.
Mm-hmm.
But who's to say? Just go for it.
I know. We've got an interesting one in the Premier League. Shots are now 2-1 up against Crumnock.
Wow.
Ali Small with a goal there. So after 10 minutes, they were 1 down. 18 minutes in, they're now 2-1 up.
They're fighting that goal.
It makes it interesting, to be fair, at bottom end. Shows the commentators curse how much we were praising them. We were praising Colwynnon. We were praising Renfrew. And all three are not on it.
I've just said the bottom 3 are the ones that are going to be relegated.
And you just never know, particularly as it's still 0-0. Kello are now 2-0 up against Carluke, so that looks like we've got that one in the bag.
I did say that, they get a goal early, they'll settle in. It's a great, it's a lovely surface. Kello will be all right there.
And Carluke, obviously, after the heavy defeat last week to the Port, they straight away
they've got a different.
And they've got nothing to play for.
Yeah,
nothing to play for as well.
I think there's a bit, you were right when you were saying. I think they're getting into that game a wee bit more of a defensive attitude.
Yeah.
Let's not concede, and that's what's happened early, and that's Kello said.
That's exactly what if I was the Kello manager. Exactly saying, look, let's jump on this the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. Get the game kind of put to bed. Yeah. Let's settle in it and we just that. No, you're dead right.
Let's move on to the third division. I spoke to Thorn manager David Watt. They've had a phenomenal season, and they're going to win the league regardless of what happens for me.
Yeah.
But Coolside have really been picking up. And I think Bailey's looking like he wants to go on a high. And I mean, They battered Glasgow United 5-1. They beat Vale Even 3-0 the week before. They beat Greenock 3-1. They beat Glasgow Uni 2-0. They drew with Glenvale. They beat Luga. They lost to Threave before that. So you're looking at there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in the bounce.
I think it shows you what it means to the players for the manager. I think as well. You know, there's a bit of like, let's do this for you. What you gave to us, we're going to give a bit back, and it showed the last few weeks. And they can go and win this.
It's a real credit as well. You're going to be looking at potentially 2 teams who've only been in the setup for a few years now being in the second division. So the Thorn and Kilsyth. The Thorn, it's incredible that the fact that it's back to back for them. But Kilsyth, they get promoted in the first year, then they've had a couple of years in the third division. They've been really solid.
And that's the reason why we should be welcoming these clubs in, because they're not coming into. We spoke about teams in the
to make up the numbers and
coming
in to compete.
Club 42, Club 41 who've been there for traditions. These are clubs that are coming with ambition and they're attacking it.
And not only, I mean, you just say Dortmund back to back. They've lost 2 games this season. 2 games this season.
I know.
At any level of football.
And obviously one of them was that blockbuster 13-goal game against Glasgow Uni, which was just a freak. So it's mad. But I've asked David what he was thinking about how important it was for him personally with if they can get the win today, then they're guaranteed promotion, which is only a matter of time. But here's what he had to say on it.
Yeah, personally for me, I just want to get over the line with promotion. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about how big this game is this weekend. The point or 3 points that we need that will see us do this and that. But for me, I've just had a consistent approach, similar to like just after Christmas, really, where people were saying that those were massive games, but we were consistent. We didn't change anything. That's the same going into Saturday. Obviously, just want to get promotion over the line for all the people that have helped me since Stevie left. Obviously, Stevie's a big part of where we are just now as well. So personally, I just want to do it for those people and be successful.
That is how it must be feeling. It's just get over the line because they know it's done. They know that they're going to go up. It's just when. And that's the thing is it's just the pressure of that as well. Today, I'd imagine there'll be a reasonable crowd down there. There's no one.
No, but and I can imagine that, you know, would they have the wee hiccup today just with the pressure and the kind of the whole scale of it all? And it might be just the case, but you know, it's early. They're easily get time to come back in that game, and they are scoring goals this season. So I think there's definitely more goals in that game.
I think you could be right. And we'll move on to the 4th division before we go on a break. Kello and Kaluk.
Yeah.
There's not a great deal to say, to be honest with you. Kello 2-0 up. It's looking comfortable. I think that Kello had a really good second half of the season. They had a good start, then had a bit of a dip, and now they're really pushing on. And I think that a lot of praise to them because you've had Easterhouse come at you, you've had Rossvale come at you, even though Rossvale have not played them yet, they've still got to play them twice, which I think could be massive. You've had Eglinton come at you, you've had West Park could have go at it as well.
Yeah.
I think that they've done really well just to open up a small gap, and they've got 2 games in hand on Easterhouse and they're 4 points clear of them. I think if they win today and Easterhouse lose, I think you're almost done in terms of your top 3 because Knightswood are up. Port look like they'll go up today.
Just about it's up, yeah.
So I think that we're a couple of weeks away from potentially having that 3rd spot sealed.
Yeah, and so they've also got 2 games to play against Rossvale, which are key. But do you know what fixtures wise is it home or away first?
I'll have a wee look for you.
Because
it is
if they've got the
Rossvale are at home on the 3rd of May, and then on the final day of the season, it's down at Kello for Rossvale and Kello. So
it could be massive for Kello, and especially when a home final game.
Kello, they'll look to try and have that put to bed before he gets there. I think if they do win today, which obviously it does look well for them, it would put enough for me. The 2 games in hand against Easterhouse, I would say that should be them.
Yeah,
that'd be it would make it really, really unmanageable. And again, just like we said about the Muirkirks players having inexperience, Kello are not expected to be there this year.
Yeah.
So if I was their manager, I'd say, look, this is all on the plate. You can get promoted. Let's have a great end to the season, feel positive, build on that energy,
100%.
get them through it.
Yeah.
Let's take your opportunity.
Definitely. Big goal in the Premier League. Callum Graham has put Beath 1-0 up against Darvel, and Johnson Barrett have gone 1-0 up against Hurlford. So 2 interesting goals. Renfrew are back ahead against Glencairn, so that's 2-1. Stuart Fife, I feel for a defender, he scores quite a lot of goals.
He's always, if you look at the size, he's massive, so
Put the ball up, he was winning that.
He's dangerous. I mean, he's been that high since he was about 14. He's always dangerous at corners and free kicks. So
It's a weapon itself, that.
It's Les Mehigo have pulled a goal back. So we were talking about how it was looking good for the Ants. Les Mehigo down to 10 men, fourth losing. Les Mehigo have pulled a goal back, and Lanark are 1-0 up against the Ants. So it switches very, very quickly. Saltcoats have pulled one back against Giffnock, so it is now 1-1 in that game. And Troon have just put up steak and gravy pies on sale now.
Oh,
how good does that look?
I mean, the food down
Look,
there is,
if you're watching on YouTube,
check that
I'll make
out.
I'll make sure it's showing up properly. I've not got the picture.
Do you think they do deliveries?
How good does that look?
Oh,
steak and gravy pie. Give me a bit of that.
Yourself down the Troon for a pie.
We could go for a bit of that, just now, to be honest with you.
It's
So to be honest,
killing us here.
I'd be going for a wee juice today because it is a nice day. Nielsen have taken the lead against Maryhill. Sean Ross with a goal there.
That's a big result.
That's a really big one. Particularly, moving on to we're talking about second division there.
Yep.
Perthshire have just taken the lead against Greenock. So that's quite an interesting one in that match as well, where Greenock need to get themselves across the line. We're talking about how beautiful that pie looks at Troon, but it doesn't look good for them just now. Ollie Rowe puts Glenafton 1-0 up against Troon. Saltcoats have taken the lead now against Giffnock 2-1. It goes from bad to worse for the Ants. Fourth have just pulled a goal back, so it was 1-1 with Fourth and Bells Hill. Threave have taken the lead against Dorai, so that keeps that really interesting in that third division. Mm-hmm. I think in terms of the third division, Threave will go on to 41 points with 4 games in hand 4 games in hand on Greenock. Greenock are looking in a position where they might slip out of the promotion spots. With Ardere winning as well.
They drew one each with Ardere last week at home.
Games that you need to win.
I don't have a great feeling around Greenock.
No, I think they might just miss it. But look, we're going to go on a quick break, and we'll be right back after the. And welcome back to Saturday Football Live. Joined in the studio by Des Roach and Gary Thompson. And if you want to view or say on anything, you can get us on 07396 717 412. That's 07396 717 412. Or you can get us on X at Saturday Football Live and Instagram. Sorry, Des, on you go.
Just a wee goal update. It's now 1-0 to Knightswood. Liam Coogan's after 30 minutes.
That's an interesting one in the 4th division. So, Des, we are now at the time for Desi's quiz. Now, my favourite part of the show, Des, last week.
I get the fears with this part.
Last week I had a good week. So this week I think you're going to make it a bit harder for me. And how is it this week looking for us? Because I'm a bit concerned that you might go too hard on it because I won't be good with a player pathway.
Right. Do you know what? I've actually wrote out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions, but I won't go through all 7. I'll go for we've got a couple of career pathways, so I'll go this one first. East Kilbride, Camelon, Petershill, Pollock, Gartcairn and Lawn, Pollock.
Absolutely no clue.
No.
Then go through it again.
East Kilbride, Camelon, Petershill, Pollock, Gartcairn and Lawn, Pollock.
Stephen Dockery.
Easy for you, Paul, that one, eh?
Nah,
Just took you a wee second there, mate.
I just needed a wee recap.
Okay. James Macaulay is the manager of which West of Scotland football team?
Not good that I don't know this.
Just got a blank look, Des.
James Macaulay. That's terrible.
And
That
if we don't know, you give us a league.
This makes us
Does
this makes us look bad if we don't know who other managers are.
Obviously, we do. We just it's just is this at this very minute.
James Macaulay.
It says you sitting in your computer.
I know I'm looking. James Macaulay, manager of.
I'm going to go. This, I mean, obviously, this is just a complete guess, right? I am going to go for Campbelltown Pupils. I'm guessing that is a complete and utter guess.
I was looking at Vale Even.
Glasgow University.
Oh, that's terrible. I spoke to James.
I know.
I spoke to James. That's awful.
Come on, Paul.
That is awful.
So see when you sat there and goes, this makes us look definitely. I'm sitting going,
Yeah, it definitely does.
I'm like, no. Well,
I spoke to James a few times. That's terrible.
I'm not
James,
trying to make
Listen,
it
there's
up.
a lot of managers in that. And
James, I'm sorry about that. That's embarrassing. I've literally spoken to him a few times.
Okay, career path. Stranraer, Cumnock, Talbot, East Kilbride, Clydebank.
Keir Sampson.
Yes. Which team has the most positive goal difference in the first division?
I won't look. I'm not on it. I won't look. Positive.
in the first division.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do?
Sorry, I've done it.
No. I'm just going to do this. Right.
Right. Okay.
That's what you guys.
Positive. How did you pass night?
The first.
First,
We're on both scored a lot of goals this season.
first
First.
division.
Oh, first division, sorry.
I thought it was your headphones that came out. Is it
No,
yours,
no.
guys?
One of those days, mate. First division.
I see you. If you're on the live on YouTube, then don't feel shy. You can get your comment in if you think.
That's 2-0 to Knightswood.
2-0 to Knightswood. Just had a comment in from Chris. I don't know if he's have you seen any of that? As you'll know, a dad, his lad,
Yes,
and his
we
lad.
sponsor them.
So
Yeah.
Chris has just commented he's at the Gartcairn game. So thanks for the comment, Chris.
Brilliant.
Hope you enjoy the game. We're just gonna go.
Hope we had a good holiday in Turkey. I think he had the family
Oh,
in
I've seen
Turkey,
the video.
didn't
Yeah.
he? Which is amazing and not telling the kids. So that was
2-1 to Kello now. Call it a goal back.
Right,
Right, sorry.
Who scored the most goals in the first, Paul?
Right.
Biggest goal difference.
Goal difference. Positive. I'm just gonna go with Atherley.
Atherley. Right, I'm going to go for. You know what? I'm going to go for Donnellywood.
Donnellywood. Des, this is an iffy one.
Oh,
At the time,
'Cause
at the time, right?
No, you've got two teams that are the same. Renfrew and Atherley are both plus 27.
Aye. And Rutherland Glencairn are 30.
Hi, sorry.
you make me feel a wee bit better.
I know.
All right then. In the Premier League,
Good. Right.
which team has the worst negative goal difference?
The Bens.
Probably residence.
The
Bens. Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well done, Paul.
Which player is the top goal scorer in the first division?
Oh, first division. That's quite a tricky one. This is going to be one of those ones that's dead obvious when
You hear that?
you hear the answer. Which player is the top goal scorer in the first division? Do you know what we need to do, Des? Like that smaller Saturday live radio show that's on
a wee one.
Clyde,
What are they called?
Fourth One or something. We need to start putting your questions up
On the socials.
on the socials after it. Top goal scorer in the first division.
I'm waiting on you here, Paul.
I see that, guys.
I'm not all over you in this one, Paul. I
Aye.
have full faith in you.
Well, you shouldn't.
You're the host. I wouldn't like you stepping your toes in this one, Paul.
Right, okay. I didn't see you pull
the
him out.
man of wealth of your knowledge.
I didn't see you pull him out the bag when James McCauley was mentioned.
No.
I'll go for Alex Cassels. Who
Just
is?
scored an extra goal today.
Jojo?
Gillespie.
I thought that was too obvious, but no. I thought that was too obvious.
I have to get input in there somewhere.
I know. I thought that was too
Right,
obvious.
Right, Des, get your team in.
I have to get input.
Fair enough.
And that's me, guys.
Not you.
I did have one other one, but it's a career pathway.
Well, what do
Let's hear it. Go for
I'll put that one on social for later. See if we can get any answers. I'll put it up.
Aye.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see what we get for that.
Right.
All right.
Twitter and
Fair
Instagram and
enough.
all that kind of
Fair
stuff.
enough. So we're getting close to half time in our West of Scotland games.
Sorry, 2 seconds. So was that pitched too hard?
No, I'd say that was
No, that was
perfect.
good.
I'd say that was perfect this week. Well done.
Good days.
3-0 to Kilsyth against the Thorn. They are not having a party today. It's 3-0 to Kilsyth against the Thorn.
Well, it's always good to be a bit of a part of football as a team. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's always been a big thing.
Goal scorer for Threave, the one up against O'Reilly, was Ross Irving.
And I've just seen here Muir Cup 2-0 up against Kelly.
2-0, massive result there.
Yeah.
Girvan now 2-0 up against Luga.
That's a big result.
Cumnock have just pulled one back. It is 2-2 with Cumnock shots. Bellshill have retaken the lead against Forth. They are 2-1 up. Still 0-0 with Rob Roy and Ardrossan. Perthshire now down to 10 men after being 1-0 up. Nielsen have doubled the lead. They are 2-0 up against Maryhill. A Conor McCabe goal there. Scott Lewis sees a straight red card. Is Scott Lewis playing for? He'll be playing for Darvel. Scott played for me at St Peter's. Really nice guy. Has quite a few red cards in him. He's got
that capability.
I don't mind the character.
he has moments of madness in him, and it goes from bad to worse. Beath are now 2-0 up. Callum Graham with the goal there. And just as we're talking about Greenock being 1 down against Perthshire down to 10 men, it is now 1-1.
It's not a nice day to go down to 10 men either.
No, so it's 1-1 there.
A lot of run.
That's a hard graft.
2-0 to Glenafton against Troon.
That's a big result.
That is a big result. Let's talk about. We'll touch on Darvel and Johnson Borough.
Yeah.
We're 3 weeks down the road, and we do not know what's happening.
It's unacceptable.
I think it's completely unacceptable. And I might be wrong, right? Because I know that there's been so much going on with the league reconstruction, and that will be the focus for the West, right? But day-to-day business still needs to be taken care of.
You've got to look after.
Do
your
you
members.
Can't bury it.
do you think that they were waiting to see what happened with Clydebank winning the league before making the decision? Because now it doesn't matter if Johnson Borough get 3 points deducted and they leave it at that, which I think I've heard that's what might happen, and I think that's disgraceful if that's the case. When minimum you've got for replay for me. It's got replay.
That had to be dealt with that week.
Yeah, so the referee's report will go into the Scottish FA on the Sunday. Right. So it's getting dealt with on the Monday morning, the latest, but because of the furore that it caused, you're not telling me the people within there are looking at that on the Sunday night.
Exactly.
So we've got that in there. do you need to convene a meeting that's, we've all got Zoom, we've all got messaging, we've all got emails.
Very well connected these days, Des.
When you see it and you realise the impact that it's going to have on a club, it's incumbent upon you to make decisions there and then. A referee has, right, let's be wrong, referee made an error, right? But you've got to make a decision on what's happening there. You don't go to your work and wait a month for somebody to decide what happened 4 weeks ago. I think it's totally wrong. And I do think that, and again, it's only a personal opinion, in my opinion, I think they've put their head in the sand, hoping that something will brush over, they might bank it up, and then they go, right, well, we don't need to give you 3 points because it's got no material impact on
Nah, I'm with you. It's shameful.
Shameful
that wasn't dealt with.
The week off.
Very, very worst case, the week off,
And
the end of the week off. You should not be getting into the next game, regardless, having that hanging over your head.
And as we said, it's of no fault of either club. Yes, Johnson Borough made an error, but it was an honest error. There was nothing that was done with malicious intent.
There was no malicious intent. It was an administrative error. It was an oversight. Call it what you want. It was a mistake. There was no bad blood in that.
And I know I'm an ex-referee, and obviously I'm involved in my own stuff that I do.
Yeah.
But it was a refereeing error because they've got the administrative duties that they must do.
And see, for me, I mean, you've got your lines, your lines people involved in that as well.
So
it's not just, you get down the leagues, you're just a referee, you've got a lot going on in a game, that gets missed. I understand it. But when you've got lines people there, you've got the referee.
If it's any game, and I know Paul's also part of the referee fraternity a while ago as well. But see if you and I are on a game together, when you bring on a substitute,
Right.
I'm marking it down.
Right.
You're marking it down.
So there's that.
And the assistant referee in the far side takes it at the next opportunity because there's 3. So
for that to pass, what's happened there, do you think, then, Dave, for that to flip through 3 potential catches? Never mind taking away the team side of it, they should be managing that side of it. But from the officiating side of it, how does that go? It's just that oversight.
It's an oversight. It's
look at something 10 times and miss it.
The thing is, everybody's happy with being a mistake. Everybody's happy that the referees made the mistake. Everybody's happy Johnson Borough made the mistake. Darvel, the only people who haven't made a mistake look like they might be getting punished for it.
Yeah.
And they could say we get a replay right and they lose. I don't think that Mick and Darvel are going to be particularly pleased, but at least it's another opportunity.
Yeah.
Whereas if you just take the 3 points for Johnson Borough, it doesn't sit right with me. Big goal in the Ardrossan Rob Roy game. Ardrossan are now 1-0 down. Jordan Perry with a penalty for Rob Roy.
Wow.
Lanark are 2-0 up against the Ants. A massive goal there. Quite an interesting game with Giffnock and Saltcoats. It's now 3-2 to Saltcoats. And Girvan are 3 up against Lugar. So it looks like the points are in the bag for Girvan there, which Dean will be particularly happy with. They're sitting, as it stands, they're starting to get a wee bit of daylight. They're 6 points clear at the start of the day against Fellaleven. Perthshire are they've now leapfrogged Perthshire into 11th place. It's looking like a good day for Dean, and I think if they stay up, it's been a really good first season for him in Chelsea. The first time as his own man in management.
Yeah. And what he'll do is he'll learn a lot about himself. He'll learn a lot about his players that he's got there.
Yeah.
That's fair. It's a difficult place to attract players to go and play. You're travelling the length of the country every second weekend.
Yeah.
I've done it numerous times. But what he will do is he'll get back in community. Girvan don't tend to be a team that change managers terribly much. The team again is we'll
keep that continuity.
Try and keep the continuity. I know Peter was there for a number of years, but yeah, this will give Dean a good grounding in it. He's got enough experience as a player, coach at Troon for years.
He knows this level particularly well.
He does know particularly well, and what he'll do is he'll give himself a grounding for next year.
I agree. That's good.
I think so as well. We'll look at the first division. We're talking just before we start getting our half-time updates in. Looking at the first division, this is massive for Rob Roy. We've not heard anything about the Glenvale game or the Vale Clyde game or the Maybell game, but Rob Roy can get a win here today. That's a massive one.
I think going there as well to Ardrossan, they've got the new surface down there.
They get the Astrograss down there now?
They get the Astrograss down there, and then don't get me wrong, it's a phenomenal setup now. They've made a lot of changes down there. But it's going to suit Kirky. You know, they're
Mhm.
used to that
That's what they're used to now.
You know, you've been down there, you know, historically, and I mean, it's been a decent grass park, but obviously, going forward to the future, putting Astro in was a big thing for the community. But I was definitely going to help Kirky get down there, playing on that surface. But not an easy place to go. Gavin's a good guy. I've known Gavin over the years with Dawson. So I think there's still a lot of game to be played there. But that's a great start for Kirky.
I got a text before the game from her friend Stuart Maxwell saying that Ryan Dackhill was going to be the captain of Pollock today.
Mhm.
Pollock was just put on Twitter, 39 minutes, yellow card,
Tax.
Ryan Dackhill.
No way. Our Dak's playing. I cannot believe it. He's some man.
Let's see.
I'm just looking at the team lineup.
I did check. I never
Or is that just a
That
must be the sideline.
That's got to
He's
be.
been booked on the bench, hasn't he? Yeah, he's definitely been yellow carded.
Aye.
Pollock are quite good for social media.
guys?
Yeah.
Stroke at half time. Glencairn have equalised 2-2 with Glencairn and
Keep
Renfrew.
Keep the faith.
Been a cracking
It's a
first
good
half.
Yeah.
2-2 at half time with Cumnock and Shotts. Also a good game.
That's a cracker, yeah.
0-0 with St Roch's and Blantyre. Vix. The Rock. I feel like it's just slipping away for him this season. And
I think there's
Start
chances
the
of winning.
and I touched Paul and Bember 0-0 at half time.
Mhm.
I touched on it with the Rock earlier in the season. It'd have been good to see them go up for something different.
I fancied them to go up at the start of the season. The way they were playing, they were doing really, really, really well.
You're right. I think they bring a dynamic.
Half time at Mabel, 1-0 to Mabel.
Wow.
1-0 to me.
1-0 to Mabel. That's a massive one. So you're looking at 1-0 to Mabel. That would take Mabel on to 32 points, which puts them in a 10th, and Rob Roy on a
Yeah.
20 on to 31 points. That's interesting.
It's dragging for Birmingham.
It's dragging the Meda back into it because you're looking at they had a good result during the week there. You're wondering if it's going to. I mean, they beat the Rock 3-2 during the week there, which is a really good result. You're wondering if it's going to drag them back into it as well. I was starting to think that they were going to be safe.
I think what we were hoping for is that year with the Rock, you know that obviously when Celtic away from home, there's massive crowds going to follow them.
Oh, massive.
So they were going to add something different, a bit of excitement.
Gee, that's what I think as well. I think they bring a slightly different dynamic than most other clubs bring.
Aye.
Without doubt.
Aye,
You can look at it in a number of different ways.
Aye, but
they
it would-
definitely bring
I think it would be good for the league to have the Rock in, but it looks like they're
a step too far last
they're the bridesmaids a wee bit for me as well at times, and I think that they.
Well, look, one of the few teams that actually got a result against Clydebank this season. And there's not many teams saying that, you know. So
Happy for my Usher team, my second team was Kilburney.
right.
Just the way that we've treated it.
Oh no, I've got a long-term relationship with Kilburney. We've worked for for years, and they're a phenomenal club. I really do like them. I mean, you do get nicer people in the game.
No, I want to see them get enough points to just
They've
edge
been
away.
very kind of roller coaster this year.
Yeah.
It's up and down.
Guys, we are going to go to Aaron at Maryhill, where Maryhill are 2-0 down to Nielsen at home, which is, I suppose, a wee bit of a surprise for us.
Hi, BJ.
Aaron, we were commenting before the game of how well you guys have done against the top sides in the last month or so, but you're 2-0 against Nielsen. How has the game been so far?
It's been scrappy enough in places. The pitch is dry, kind of sort of the ball's taking a second to come down. Players, there's not much passing football going on, to be fair. Sort of clipping it forward and attack from the wings. Nielsen managing it slightly better, I'd say. Kind of unfortunate, really, not to grab another one just on the stroke of half time. So they're looking good for the result at the moment.
What I would say is, having played for Maryhill over 2 spells, I actually think the Lockburn might be worse when it's really dry and it just becomes so hard. Do you think that's an issue in the pitch today?
Potentially, but no, definitely. It's a different story when it's a bit soft, you know. At least there's some scope for some football until the pitch starts to cut up. But yeah, dry at the moment, so a lot of direct stuff on show. But Nielsen shading at the moment.
Do you see Maryhill looking like they're able to do they look like they could possibly go on and get a goal, or do you think that Nielsen looked like they'd be the more likely to go and extend the lead?
At 1-0, Maryhill had a couple of chances. We had one cleared off the line. I think one bounced up on somebody and got fired over the bar. But the second goal was a killer, really. I think it was about 10 minutes before half time. And then Jack Donald's made a great double save on the stroke half time to keep it at 2-0. So I suppose for a time, they looked like getting back into it. But hopefully they'll be able to regroup now for the second half.
Well, Aaron, thank you very much for the update, mate, and maybe speak to you later on in the game. Cheers, mate.
But
That's 2-0 at half time to Glenafton away to June.
Yep, 2-0. That's a great result. We're going to go to Ben Grant at Cowannon as they are drawing 1-1 with Petershill up at Petershill. Just waiting to see if Ben answers the phone. I know he's a busy man up there. We'll maybe have to come back to Ben in a minute. Do you think, again, I touched on it earlier, a wee bit of pressure, do you think, is getting to Cowannon with some drop points of late?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, we spoke about it earlier, they're in a phenomenal position. They're really fighting for promotion. So, I spoke to Ben recently. Well, I've said recently over the past few months. I think things are going well there. So I'd love to see Cowannon get up. To be honest with you, I think they're one of those clubs that kind of ride on that kind of Premier League style.
They're a big club.
Type club. You know, they've got a big academy. They've got a great setup there. Good people involved. So for me, they're a Premier League club all day. So I'd love to see Cowannon get up.
They're certainly a progressive club, and be giving Kevin Kelly the job, appointing a young manager. Again, look, we spoke about it earlier with Gap Care. I think it's great seeing Ryan McStay and Dan Barbin given it rather than just recycling the older names.
And it's good to see clubs doing that. Yeah,
it is, and I think it has to come in just purely for the freshness of it. Cowannon, we spoke about Clydebank being set up to go up the league. We spoke about East Kilbride being set up to go up the league. Cowannon are set up
100%.
Largs have just taken the lead against Clydebank in the stroke of half time, so they're maybe ruining celebration day a wee bit at home park. It's a David Ramsey goal for Largs there, so they are 1-0 up. St Peter's and Easterhouse 0-0 at half time. Vale Leven now, Wishaw now. Vale Leven really could do. That's a game they'd have been looking at and earmarking for trying to pick up some points and get themselves out of that relegation zone, particularly with Glasgow United losing today. I know they've got 5 games in hand on Vale Leven, but Vale Leven really would have been looking to try and get some of that. St Peter's and Easterhouse 0-0 there. So 1-0 to Bonneton against Coastside Rangers. Half time at Giffnock, really exciting game there. 3-3 with Giffnock and Saltcoats there, so that's quite an interesting one. That's half time now at home park, 1-0 to Largs.
I think Giffnock have got that in their locker this season. I think talking to some of the guys down at Giffnock, they're saying that when you're in the 4th division and you're not paying the players, when they've got the weddings and the holidays,
work and stuff like that.
Work, they're missing out maybe 4 or 5 players a week through different things, and that's the challenges teams like Giffnock are facing. They're doing the right things, getting the young boys in, offering that pathway, and progressing boys in the right way, but they're going to struggle, I think, just with that whole dynamic of how.
That's where they need to bring some money in and start paying players. Because I've been a massive advocate, and I know you guys spoke about it as well. I've been a huge advocate of Giffnock are so well placed with everything they've got. They could potentially push on.
Well, the thing is, they've done it all right at the start. They've not just jumped in 2-footed and said, right, let's just put a West team in. We'll try. They've got the infrastructure in place. They've got the academy all well set up. They've got the 2 new pitches down at Giffnock now. They've got the grass pitches. I mean, they're definitely a club that could go in the right direction, given the right backing, and the potential getting a bit of finances through the West of Scotland side of the team might change things.
I think that they're in such a good position to try and push on, but
big club as well.
No, and it's
the doorstep. It's insane. It's a small monster.
They've got everything wrong. They're centrally based in Glasgow. They can attract players, got training, etc. It's not as if
they've got facilities. There's a big thing right there. They've got the facilities.
Yeah, and we've got also an affluent area around them as well.
Yep.
Makes a
So
difference.
there's nothing there to stop Gifford being as big as they want to be.
Yeah.
That's
And if they do it in the right steps, they don't try and go too
Exactly.
fast and grow too big.
yeah.
I
We're
think
just going to go to Gary at Rob Roy. They're 1-0 up half time. 1-0 against Ardrossan.
Oh,
Gary, late penalty for Perry to put his 1-0 up against Ardrossan. How has the first half been?
Pretty even first half. Ardrossan probably seen a little bit more of the ball. Ardrossan did have the ball in the net midway through the first half, but I think it was ruled out for a foul. But we get a penalty just before half time that gives us a good half time lead at the moment.
As it stands, Mabel are winning, and that kind of doesn't help you, but Kilbirnie are drawing, and you are now out of the relegation zone. How important are these points at this stage of the season for you guys?
To the business end of the season, every point is crucial. I think it's more crucial now that we pick up wins, especially with the teams around us obviously picking up points at the same time. So we obviously we'll still get games ourselves to get out the relegation zone. So it's about what we do at the moment, and so far so good.
What are you expecting in the second half based off of how the first half's gone?
If it goes the same way as the first half goal, we'll be happy. We just haven't created too many chances, and that's probably been our biggest problem all season, is not creating too many chances. But it's about, for me, I think we need to get a second goal just to give us a bit of cushion, because Ardrossan, like I say, had a lot of possession, but not really creating too much either.
Look, guys, we'll let you go. Thanks for the update, mate. But let's see if you guys can hold on and get that massive 3 points. Enjoy the rest of the game, mate.
Fingers crossed. Cheers, mate. Cheers.
So 1-0 there. Are you needing that key, guys? Are you needing to go outside?
No, you're good. We'll hang a bit.
I seen you trying to get that door open. You nearly threw your shoulder out trying to smash that door open.
I went there. No, I'm far too skinny to take that door myself.
That is an old
dislocation right there, Paul.
That's an old school door. That one, to be fair.
That's for keep people
we're going to go to Mark at Irvine Meadow just now, where they are drawing currently with Kilbirnie.
Oh,
Mark, 0-0 at half time. How's it been?
Hello.
Mark, can you hear me? Yep. Hi. So 0-0 against Kilbirnie at half time. How was the first half going?
It was dire. Ball was just getting drift from end to end. Kilbirnie, if I'm being honest, probably the better team for the first half an hour, and then Reddy kind of grew into it the second half, most of the last 15 minutes of the first half. No real goal opportunities. Neither keeper's been busy, but it's been quite flash.
Well, how it stands just now, I appreciate a lot can change, but you've got Rob Roy are winning and Mabel are winning. You guys could get sucked right back in there if you don't pick up the 3 points today. Particularly disappointing fees after a really good win against the Rock midweek.
Big time, yeah. Obviously, we have a game in hand at the moment. Played one more than Kilbirnie, so if they win this, if I remember rightly, they go above us as well. But if we can win it, obviously it puts us up, keeps us up in the middle of the table. But we're relying on results as well, going our way elsewhere. Massive improvement from there the second half if we're to get it from us.
If you win today, you move into ninth spot ahead of Ardrossan. If they lose, which they currently are just now, can you see either side, based off of the first half, looking like they can go and score a goal in the second half?
I don't know, because as I said, first half there really wasn't any clear-cut goal chances. Giles had one, it came off his face, a bit of a scuffle inside the 6-yard box. Giles on the line has come off his face, but that's really the only chance to win for a goal in the opening 45. As I said, if any team's going to pick up 3 points, they're going to have to change something. Obviously, I'm hoping Meadow do it and we pick up the points, but as I say, at the moment, anyone could win this game. It's as if it's the last day of the season and there's nothing to play for. It's that kind of atmosphere of the game. No one's really grabbing it by the neck and trying to get the 3 points. But the free kick here for Meadow just at the edge of the box.
Mark, it's Desi. How are you doing?
How's it going, Desi? Well,
not too bad, mate. Not too bad. It sounds as if you need to give the ball a couple of paracetamol or a rub at the end there.
Definitely. I said the ball spent a lot of time in the air. It's not spent that much time on the deck. we got here? We've got Gal, Ando, and Cruden standing over his free kick here, so about 23, 24 yards out from goal. So you just want to hang fire. I'll tell you if this ends up in the stanchion or if it ends up in the car park.
You're always good for an update.
Here we go, Gal. Oh, he hit the crossbar.
Oh. That's the perfect live radio. Look, Mark, we'll come back to you at the end of the game. Keep us updated with any updates. Cheers, mate.
Well, indeed. Take care.
Well, we are going to go to a quick break as our second halves are just starting back up and the Lowland League is just kicking off for their first halves as well. So we'll be right back after the back to Saturday Football Live. I'm joined in the studio by Des Roach and Gary Thompson. So if you want to get us on WhatsApp, you can get us on 07396 717 412. That's 07396 717 412. Or you can get us on X and Instagram at Sat Football Live. Or you can get us in the comments section on YouTube Live. If there's anything you want to say, if you're at a game, don't hesitate to give us a wee update or a wee complaint if you're not happy. If you're a Thorn fan and you want to get in touch, then just give us a wee shout. You're not happy that your team's looking like it's going to have to extend its promotion celebrations by a week. We just had a red card in the Knightswood game. Liam Coogan, who scored earlier in the game, has just been sent off for stamping a player. That's
one to see later on in the.
We'll need to get the VAR done and let us find out what's happening there.
I'm sure I'll hear about it tonight.
No doubt, Stacey gives a wee update.
So I'm trying to see if I can get his Ben Grant to hear. I'm quite interested to see what's happening at Cowan 1-1 at Petershill. Sorry, Mark's just sent me a video through, but it won't show up. He says free kick clipped into Jamie White, cut back to the edge of the box, the 6-yard box. Sam McCloy puts Kilbirnie 1-0 up. So 1-0 to Kilbirnie. Now the Med are dragged right back into it. As it stands, the Med are back in the relegation zone. I was genuinely thinking the other day that they were going to be absolutely fine and they're really picking up enough points, but no, that's how it goes sometimes.
And it's now 3-0 to Knightswood.
3-0, 10 men as well. They're marching on. I've not seen any updates for Port Glasgow. They're more a Facebook team, so I need to go and we check that. But we're going to go to Ben Grant at Petershill and Cole Winning to see what Ben's saying about the game.
All right.
Ben, 1 each at half time. You guys, after taking an early lead, Petershill have pulled it back. How's the game been?
It's been pretty even. I think Buffs had probably better the chances. 2 off the bar. Obviously scoring within about 8 minutes to the lead, and then Petershill replied back pretty quickly to make it 1 each. But Buffs, as I say, hit the bar twice, a couple of good shots. Petershill had a couple of opportunities, but nothing else to really write home about. So it's been a decent first half. Sun shining and the surface is pretty good here at Petershill too. So it's allowing both teams to play football.
Ben, we were talking in the studio. Obviously, with the being at games, you're there pretty much every week, so you'd know better than us. But do you feel that Cowan are maybe feeling a bit of pressure, losing a couple of important games, dropping some points recently, when they're so close to getting themselves potentially back into the Premier League?
I don't know about pressure, but I just think being on such a good run for so long, and once you lose you lose one game, the confidence maybe drops a little bit, and then another game you lose again, and you start to maybe get in the heads a wee bit. But no, I think they're still very much capable of football to play, so I think we're still well within our chance to get up.
Ben, I'm curious to hear your thoughts away from the game. Obviously, you're involved with the official catch-up podcast, so if anybody's listening or watching, go and check that out. You guys obviously are similar to ourselves in terms of the coverage for the potential reconstruction to Tier 5. Hearing this morning that it looks like nothing's going to be coming into effect next season, so it could be potentially the season later. What does that mean for you guys as a club?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, the intention's always been we need to get promoted regardless of what happened in terms of the restructure. I think we were always probably on the edge in terms of we're in the first division, we've got our licence, but depending on what was going to happen, so we were just taking it as we still got a job to do in the park, get in the top three, and we'll worry about what happens in the restructure thereafter. If we go up this season, we'll be well within our rights to be in with a shoot for next season, and we'll just need to probably get as high up the table as we can. So I think it'll be interesting. Obviously, I think there's also a lot to come in terms of other proposals and things like that have been kind of talked about. So it'll be interesting to see what comes in the next week or so with that. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I think for all teams, not just ourselves.
No worries, Ben. Thanks for the update, mate, and enjoy the rest of the game.
Cheers, man.
So we're 2-0 to Port Glasgow. The Port are going to get promoted today. Come on.
It's also 1-0 to St Roch's at Blantyre.
Oh, interesting. Controversial moment in the Rob Roy game. Rob Roy have the ball in the net, but the ref disallows it for a handball. So I wonder if we'll get the VO later for it. That first division, the bottom half's really heating up now.
Yeah, I mean, again, my favourite league in the world. The bottom half, yeah. If Kirk can stay in this today and get a result or Dawson, I think that's a great result for Kirky. So yeah, we'll see how this is going. But the bottom half of that, the bottom end of that table is
on the first division. Arthurlie have not wasted much time in getting back into it. They've had a penalty. McNeil scores a penalty to put it 1-1 against Mabel. There's quite an interesting one there.
Arthurlie could we're kind of hoping for our prediction. Arthurlie.
We're going to draw because he's taking
at the bench this week.
It's really irrelevant.
No.
Girvan are 4-0 up against Lugardale. Sorry, I interrupted that.
No, I think this is, we said earlier, this is where Arthurlie have got to show their medal.
Yeah.
Massive goal, 4 minutes in the Lowland League. Gallagher 1-0 up against Broomhill. That's a massive goal.
Now they are fighting for their lives, and that's
as it stands. Broomhill are bottom and going down. Johnson Borough 1, Hurlford 1. Hurlford a minute into the second half pull a goal back, so a great start for them. Bailey leaving after we touched on it, playing against Wishaw. Scott Cowan scores a fair amount of goals. I mention him quite regularly. So Vela Leaven have taken the lead. It was Sam McLoy with a goal there for Kilburn, as we'd mentioned. The Ants are now 3-0 down, so it's looking like it's not going to be a good day for them. Evan Glasso with a goal for St Roch's.
Yep.
And Whitlets have made it 1-1. Who do we think scored for Whitlets?
Des on this one.
Des. Come on,
Des.
Who always scores for Whitlets? You're having a bad day today. Jordan Boyd.
Oh,
come on.
Sorry, Jordan.
I
was going to. Do you know who I was going to say? Big guys that care.
CB Perry has been chipping in with a few goals of late. We've got a goal in the Lowland League. University of Stirling are 1-0 down to Civil Service Strollers. Alu Fai with a goal there, so that's 1-0. Celtic B are 1-0 up against Cowdenbeath. I'd said last week you don't get a lot of goals in that Lone League, and we've had a good start to the day. Healy makes it 2-1 for Arthurlie. Mabel are back in the relegation zone. Lee Whitmore puts Cumbernauld 1-0 up against Thornleywood. That's a big result for Cumbernauld. I genuinely think that they could have got sucked back into it as well if they were. I think they were least likely to get sucked back into it, but based on kind of how tight that is, That's a really important goal for them,
Yeah.
and it
So
damages Thornleywood's promotion hopes.
we've still got 0-0 for Ashfield Villa Clyde.
Blantyre have a penalty against St Rochs.
I think the significant one there is the goal for Atherley.
Yeah.
I think that we said it before
Big,
the
isn't
show
it?
started. They need to win this today.
Oh no, I think this is crucial for them today.
This is the time where we're going to see their metal. We're going to see, are they serious contenders to get promoted? Because if they lost today, there's a lot of making up to do.
Broomhill have pulled one back. It is now 1-1 with Broomhill and Gallifreydine. Callum McKenzie with a goal.
West Park pulled one back as well against EK.
And East Kilbride have taken the lead there, 1-0 up. So it's quite an interesting start to the second half, to be fair. Dorai have pulled one back against Thrieve, so that is 1-1 with Dorai. Thrieve, their Twitter has it as a dubious penalty is converted to bring Dorai level. I love it when they have a nice controversial comment. So we've touched on Johnson Borough and Darvo, and I've been very wary of not slagging the league for any of the changes in or potential changes in league reconstruction. 3-0 to Ardere now against Glasgow United. That's a big one for them.
Glasgow United are a really good
They're such an up and down team.
Nah.
But they have 5 games in hand on teams about them.
Yeah.
So it gives them a bit of leeway where they might win 1 or 2 games out of that 5.
Given that form, would you be?
I know, but goal winners in that team. Game winners.
I've tried my best not to slag off the league because I don't think that the reconstruction stuff, they're basically waiting to see what happens before they can make a decision, so that's fair.
They're just a chain in the link.
Yes.
Whereas this Darvel and Johnson Borough stuff, I think that, like we've touched on, it's shambolic that we're sitting in this situation where it's not been decided 3 weeks down the road. But we're going to go back to league reconstruction. As it sounds today, nothing's happening next season.
Yeah.
The league have an opportunity here to take their time. If it looks like it's going to come in for 26-27 season, then everybody knows the rules.
Yep.
But do they bring in new? Well, they have to bring in new sides if you could potentially be losing 5, 6, maybe 7 teams for the Premier League. It's going to be quite interesting.
The league really need to just set their stall out early.
Yeah.
You know, they need to set the criteria. I mean, they set all the plans in place early so that there's no dubiety on anybody that comes in. There's no bad feeling. There's no why did they get it and they didn't get it. You know, so I think the league just need to get on top of this as quickly as possible. And going by what happened with Johnson Borough and Darvel, they're not the best at jumping on situations, but I think that given the time they've got now to get it discussed, they really need to get it in place early.
It's as we said, it can't come in for next year because it will be
too late.
It will just it's been rushed in. So it has to be well thought out. It has to be put together properly.
Mm-hmm.
Have a robustness to it that we know that, as we said, they're just a small link in the chain, and they're part of it. What's going out, what's coming in, get it together, put it out to the member clubs, because at the end of the day, it's their league. They're the stakeholders in it, and bring it in for 26, 27. And we said that right at the outset. You cannot rush these things.
And it gives, like I've mentioned on new teams coming in, it gives them the opportunity to say, right, I'll use St Pat's as an example because they were so close to getting in last time.
Yeah.
You say to St Pat's, for talk's sake, look guys, you have a year.
And
we need X, Y and Z done.
Yeah, and
do you know the thing is, you can maybe say, yous are coming in, right? If you're serious about it, you're coming in. You have 3 years to get X, Y and Z done. Mm-hmm. And that means by start of play 26-27 season, they maybe have X and Y done. And then Z's just waiting there, and it can be done during the season or within a year or two. And that allows you to bring in teams. I'm kind of on the fence in a sense where it's hard because I think that you look at the Thorn, but the Thorn are a bit different. They're a really good amateur team as well.
Yeah.
But you look at Giffnock, St Peter's didn't have great amateur teams, Glenvale didn't have a great amateur team, but had the setup that they required, and they had the pathway. I'm wondering if you start looking and going, do we start bringing in clubs who are better teams, but they have a bit of a pathway, they have a bit more? Because you look at, I'll use Craig Mark for example, who have just gone 2-1 up against Les Mahego. My time there, absolutely zero pathway.
Yeah, yeah.
How is Craig Mark better? Just to use the example, how are they better than a club coming in who have at least a 20s and a 19s or a whatever?
I think the two, certainly from our area, Paul, I think the two biggest clubs that are not within it at this moment in time, I think Glenford Thistle, they're massive. I mean, we spoke earlier about 900
Oh, they've
young
got
people
a
involved.
lot of kids involved in that. That's it.
St Peter's are showing the ambition to go for it. Glenvale have shown the ambition to go for it.
Mhm.
I think we bring in clubs with an infrastructure rather than looking at clubs that will get a one-off team.
I'm 100% behind you in that. I think some of the problem you've got with the bigger clubs that don't offer they've got the pathway, but are the boys getting the opportunity to do the pathway is another question. Given a great example of showing that being in the position they're in the fourth division, they've not got financial backing, so they're having to use the pathway boys. But I think you're right. You need these clubs with that infrastructure, all these things in place that if something happens to your senior team, you've got a development team, you've got an 18th team, you've got a 17th, 16th, you're feeding straight into that. And the more these boys see the potential opportunity of playing for the first teams, I think you're going to see it with St Cadets next year. There's going to be some changes there where you see 4 or 5 development boys really getting an opportunity. Now, I've noticed that in the past few weeks with St Cadets, giving the 3 or 4 of these boys an opportunity, they look absolutely amazing because they look up for it. They came from a club they've played for, some of them since they were 5 and 6, now getting the opportunity to play in senior football, and it means something to the boys to play for these teams. How many times do you see guys going for the money? It doesn't mean anything to play for the team. If you can offer a pathway and show that there's something, a light at the end of that tunnel, you've suddenly got a bunch of boys that are playing for the right reasons. Financially, they'll get rewarded for it if the team goes up the leagues. You're in the biggest shop window you get in the West. You play well for Giffnock, you could be signing for taking the first division team in no time. But you definitely need the pathway teams. 100%.
Look at Renfrew. They're a perfect example.
Yeah.
Perfect example. They've got kids playing there, fun
mini
kickers,
kickers.
Kickers. They've got a 20s. They've got a first team. They're not going to be going out and buying players for Auchan Leg and so that. So there is an opportunity for them. My own son, he's just joined Glenvale in the past few months. I'm not saying he's going to be a first team player, that's not.
But the opportunity is there.
The opportunity, there's a ladder it's then up to him to take that opportunity.
How many times as kids did you pull on a strap and think, whether you're a Celtic Rangers fan, whether you're a Port fan or a Port fan, you pull on that strap as a boy and you go, I want to be them. You want the association.
I think as well, it saves clubs are now in a position where they might be able to keep players from going to a lesser academy pro youth type team where you go, well, you've got the progression here to go in. I'm actually going to give you a few updates. Stephen Laurie has pulled one back for Glasgow United, so they're 3-1 down. Kieran Diver puts Johnson Borough 2-1 up. Jordan Boyd puts Whitlets 2-1 up. The Meda have equalised, so it's 1-1 with the Meda and Kilburnie. It's looking like Gartcairn having a right go. Armour, the goalkeeper at Talbot's made a great save. Vela Clyde have gone 1-0 up against Ashfield at stroke half time. Vela leaving a 2-0 up now. Lewis King with a goal there. Craig Mark, as I'd mentioned, 2-1 up. An interesting one with the Greenock Perthshire game. Perthshire are now down to 8 men. 8 men.
Wow.
2 more red cards. Cumbernauld Colts have gone 1-0 up against Bowness. Callum Wilson with a goal there. All but guarantees their safety today for me. Giffnock are 4-3 up against Saltcoats.
Wow.
Ross Irvine was second of the game for Threave to go 2-1 up. Now Threave have gone 3-1 up a minute later. Des, it's funnily enough, I was going to penalty at Cumbernauld Colts as well, so they can double the lead. I was going to ask you a couple of things about refereeing, because we had obviously Barry McLaughlin on and we had asked him about his career, and we touched a wee tiny bit with Johnny last week. Before I ask you a couple of questions, what is the most red cards you've ever had in a game as a referee? Can you remember?
In a game? I don't actually used to give out a lot of red cards.
No games near abandonment because of the red cards?
No. I'd be hard pushed to say if I've ever gave out more than 2.
Really?
Yeah. I know the quickest red card that I've ever gave was 17 seconds.
Who was that?
Stay for centre.
There's actually two incidents. One was straight from centre where the ball you do that usual kick, and it gets played back, gets put forward, and the guys just went and
Robo?
done him. No. He just went 2-footed and just took him out. I also done an amateur game. I won't mention the league or the teams involved.
Just tell us.
Amateur football, I go and watch a bit of amateur football, and I'm not joking. I probably shouldn't say it, but borderline violence most games.
It was the old Caledonian League.
Right.
I think Caledonian still.
Caledonian still going
on. So it was a game, and two of my good friends were at it. In fact, one was David Dickinson's dad.
Mm-hmm.
There was a corner for a team late on in the match, and there had been a wee bit of needle in it. And this guy came on for a corner. As the corner gets swung in fact, this is less than 17 seconds, this is probably about 5 seconds. The corners get swung in, he's came out, he's put back in, and he's just went up and elbowed the keeper right in the face. And before I could even do it, he's actually running off the park.
He was
on to do it. Right, that was it. He was on a task. But no, I reckon I would go. I think I had more than 2, and I think it was probably when I've sent 2 off. It would be maybe the 2 of them having a fight.
Just something's happened, and you had to deal with the 2 of them.
I once had 4 red cards in the one season.
One season?
Nah, 4 in the one season. I get sent off 4 times in one season.
What? Consistent foul?
I was very
conduct,
mouthy. Maybe a couple of no, they are definitely a couple of second bootings and a couple of.
Calling the ref.
Do you know the worst one I ever had? I remember with the Port, we were playing Genefield Swifts. So obviously Genefield are a good side, and we went up there and we had one of those days. I remember actually having a right good game myself, and we had one of those days where we just had a great day. We managed, they battled us at spells and we seen it through, and we did so well. And then we got them back to Partley the week later, and I think they beat us 5 or 6-1. But I remember basically a boys tried to elbow me. I felt he tried to elbow me, and I was shouting at the ref. I remember standing at the bottom end, at the edge of the box, and I was shouting at the ref, and I was like, "Ref, do you know, see that he's just done that to me?" And as I did that, he walked by me and elbowed him in the face. I was looking at the ref. I was like,
you could right.
I was like, I never meant that. And I remember at the end of the game when I was off, Bruno, my manager, who let me away with murder, started getting mental, and Paul Coyle was the captain. He's like, Bruno, to be fair,
he didn't mean it.
He said to the ref, "Oh, this is what he's done." And literally, I was like, "Oh, ref, he's just done this to me." And I threw my elbow up, and the guy walked past me, smashed him right in the face. So
Paul, you never meant it, Paul.
I never meant it.
I was sent off after
the game. That boy brought news.
Really?
After the game?
For Meadow.
Losing the plot?
We should have, there should have been a red card given. It was Auckland like Meadow. We were 2-1 down, and I voiced my displeasure. And then after the game, because he reported as a red card.
Right.
He cautioned me, but he never asked me my name. And afterwards, stupidly me, I should have taken a club representative in with me.
He said, "Look, you've stood this."
So I went in on my own stupidly, and I said to him, "Can you tell me who was cautioned there?" And he went, "It was you." And I went, "Well, how do you know it was me? Because you never asked my name." And he looked at me and said, and as long as my 2 children here, he said, "I know who you are." I went,
"That doesn't matter.
Are you having a laugh? I know who you are."
I think that makes sense. He knows who you are. Doesn't need to actually.
I could be Martin. There was 40 standing at the same.
Andy could have said what you said to him.
I think we're looking at Clydebank having their first defeat of the season. They are 2 goals down. Blair Devine puts Largs 2 goals up. Muirkirk are 3-0 up against Cali Locals.
No, I mean, I think there's that element of being the party poopers and really, busting that bubble in the day, but I'd be sad to see Clydebank not going unbeaten.
I think it'll be an element of relief that Clydebank players they've won the league.
I know, but it's disappointing.
But that's your next target, isn't it? Once you've won the league, you may be sitting in the dressing room saying, "Right, boys, let's focus now."
It'll be interesting to see the team that's been put out.
As I was saying, that Muirkirk are 3-0 up.
Yeah.
Nielsen have just gone 3-0 up. Dylan Fletcher with a goal. Harry Officer, who I comment on quite a lot as well, has put 3-1 up. Greenock have finally taken the lead against 8-man Glasgow Pershore, so that is 2-1. Shots have said they've just come close. Easterhouse 1-0 up against St Peters. Whitlett's now 3-1 up, and hat-trick for Jordan Boyd.
Irvine Meadow just equalised.
and the Talbot have just gone 1-0 up against Gartcairn. So Gartcairn, as it stands, fall back into the relegation zone.
Meta, one each.
Yep. Cowdenbeath have equalised against Celtic B, and Lugar have a penalty as they're 4-0 down. Wishaw pull one back against Villa Leaving, so that is now 2-1. It was Michael Wardrobe with a goal for the Talbot and Robbie MacArthur with a goal for Easterhouse. Civil Service Strollers are now 2-0 up, and Ewan McIver for Lugar scores again.
I think he must have this season.
I know, he's scored a ridiculous amount of goals of late, to be honest with you. Clyde Banks starting to ring the changes now. Mulcahy is off, and Mulcahy and Truesdale are on. Little and Grant off. Jamie Gray with a goal for Dalry, pull it back to 3-2, and Ardeer are 4-0 up.
Jesus.
Callum Wardrobe puts them 4-0 up. Is he Mick Wardrobe's brother?
I don't know.
I'm wondering. The Rock are down to 10 men, but have a penalty. Coolsith are 4-0 up against the Thorn.
4-0?
4-0 up against the Thorn.
The occasions maybe got to Thorn a little bit today.
Quite possible.
It looks
Don't get me wrong, Kilsyth is a good side, so not taking away from them, but it sounds like the occasion maybe got a bit of...
You saying there, Jordan Boyd, that's a hat-trick for him?
Hat-trick for him.
So that takes him up to 32 goals for the
Wow.
season.
That's incredible.
That's a lot of goals.
Yeah. So when we had him at Meadow, he was always a good striker. It was purely confidence built for him.
Really?
Purely confidence built for him. So obviously Whitleys is a
Yeah,
for him.
That's a nice safe haven for him.
Yeah.
As well, Troon have pulled a goal back against Glenafton, so is Dario Vivani. I think that's a good name. Lewis McCracken doubles the lead for the Rocks, so they're 2-0 up.
When the later kick-off, I don't know if you mentioned the half-time score at Ashfield.
Yep,
1-0.
Yep. Cumbernauld Colts 2-0 up against Bowness. That's looking interesting for them. I'm actually going to touch on that as it stands just now in the Lowland League. Cumbernauld are now sitting on 31 points, Broomhill on 29 and Gallagherydine on 26. So that is it's quite an interesting one in the bottom end. We're talking about Jordan Boyd getting a hat-trick and 3-1 to Whitlets. It's quite the top four teams are all quite comfortable, well, excluding wrong division there. Because that's 3-1 Whitlets, 3-0 Neilson, 3-0 Muirkirk, 3-0 Lanark. So there's no change at the top of the second division. All teams getting close at the end of the season and digging their way through this.
Yeah, and I think the big questions are going to be asked of Neilson. I know Scott Perry said a few weeks ago that he could see a wobble in them at some point. But these are the results that they're needing. Personally, I think they will have enough. I think they'll have enough to get through. I fancy Whitlets to win it, and again, it's all about them and what they can muster between now and the end of the season. But Muirkirk, I don't know. I've just got a wee bit of
good feel for
romanticism in it. I would just love to see them. I'd love to see them do it.
Today is a phenomenal result. I think we said that earlier.
Because Cali Locals are a difficult side to beat.
They're an interesting team, Cali Locals. They can be a bit up and down. To me, they're a bit like Ladeside this year. They can be hard to play, and then other teams you think, what happened? Who turned up?
Well, look, we'll come back to that because we're going to go and take a quick break. So we're right back after the
They're wearing their strips of the old gold stuff and they paid.
And welcome back to Saturday Football Live. You can get us on WhatsApp at 07396 717 412. That's 07396 717 412. Or you can get us on X and Instagram at Sat Football Live. Or you can get us in the comments section of YouTube Live. So if there's anybody watching on YouTube, then give us a wee shout if there's anything you want to say or anything you want to ask myself and the guys. 2-1 to Kello against Kaluk. Kaluk just missed a penalty. So it's very interesting there. Craig Mark now 3-1 up against Les Mahego.
And you did notice the Rock scored a penalty. I'm just watching the video.
Yep.
Now, yeah.
So 2-0 to the Rock in that game there. Which, in the first division, it's a division, obviously, we've spoken about, Gary, and we've had the joke with you saying it's the best division in the world. And see, to be honest, I don't see why you would, because I think it's one of the most interesting divisions you could. It might lack quality at times, but in terms of excitement, it's definitely one of them. You've got Renfrew, the top four are all drawn, and Arthurlie are winning. So technically, Arthurlie have moved into fourth spot. Renfrew only have 3 games left. Is it going to be enough for them with the fact that the Glencairn have 6 games left and only 3 points behind if it stays as is? Do you think they've got enough, guys?
I think they do. I'd love it. For nothing else for days. for Renfrew Cup, I think by 8.5. I think they do. I think they will have enough. I think they will.
Do you know what? Out of all the clubs, I don't know if we weren't set up for getting promoted this year. I can guarantee Jimmy wasn't thinking that. But you know what? I just hope we get a surprise package this year.
I think that makes stand in good stead. I think they went in with that expectation. So you take that expectation off the table. As you said, the conversations are different. Look, boys, we might, even though we're saying it, they might feel as if they're overachieved slightly this season, but the ball's in their court.
It's in their own hands.
Do you know what I mean? You can only keep doing what they're doing, and I'd love them to release the supply package in the first.
Yeah, I think we have it. I think
them and Kilwinning is the 2 teams I'd like to go up. Obviously, from a company's point of view, BSN, I'd love to see Arthurlie in the Premier Division, just for that profile again. But Kilwinning, as we said earlier, they're 100% a Premier League club. Renfrew, it would just be phenomenal for the whole club.
But how do you think Renfrew would handle being in the Premier League next season if that were the case? I think I would say Renfrew would be stick-on, odds-on favourite to go straight back down.
I think people would, if we get promoted, I think people would expect Renfrew to be coming straight back down. However, I know Jimmy would be having the guys jumping at their skin.
And again, you're a different offering as a club. You can go out there, you get different sponsorships, and you can hopefully get that wee bit extra financial back into the first team that could help keep them up. Because size-wise and profile-wise, there's a club that could easily be part of that Premier League setup.
Couple of goals coming in. Civil Service Strollers, their day's gone from good to great. They are now 3-0 up. Trinent have pulled one back against East Kilbride, so that's 1-1. St Rochs are now 3-0 up against...
That's good, been 10 minutes.
With Jordan Thompson with a goal there against Blantyre. It's Craig Mark, like we said, 3-1 up as well. Villa Clyde, you're right there, Des?
Yep.
Just smashing. St Rochs are now 4-0 up. Josh McGrillen with a goal there. So that's a really good result because Thornley are losing. That puts the Rock into 6th place on 39 points. But they have 2 games in hand against Petershill. They're only 4 points back for Glencairn. They've got a game in hand against Kilwinning with 6 points behind. Maybe it's no dead for them yet. Maybe there's still a bit of life left there.
They could for them.
It was another penalty for the Rock, actually.
For Rock, they can just hopefully keep themselves under radar and just keep plodding away, and you never know what
Shots have gone 3-2 up against Cumnock late in the game.
Wow.
That's 3-2. And Benburb have just scored for the spot against Pollock. They are now 1-0 up.
As we were saying, they love playing Pollock. That shows.
It's 10 minutes remaining. Still all to play for at the Meda in Kilbirnie. Lanark have gone 4-0 up against the Ants. Celtic B have gone 2-1 up against Cowdenbeath. Whitlets have gone 4-1 up against Yoker. Nielsen have gone 4-0 up against Maryhill.
Just replicating each other.
They're going blow for blow. 3-1 at Greenock now. They're looking like they've got the game under wraps after the couple of red cards. After Carluke missing a penalty, Kello have now got a penalty. I'm just waiting to see how that goes. Cumbernauld Colts 3-0 up against Bowness in 35 minutes.
That's big.
That's a bit of a statement as well. I mean, I appreciate Bowness not went to play for, but
no, but I mean, I've known John for a few years from his days back at St Carrots, and I've known Gomes over the years as well, and I'd love to see they two do well there. Cumbernauld Colts, again, a great club, a great setup. So I'd love to see the guys getting a bit of success there. So hopefully they can keep that going there.
Yeah, I'd like to see Cumbernauld Colts as well. I know Gomes.
Yeah.
Great guy. Brilliant playing career behind him.
Oh,
What the setup they've got, the Cumbernauld vast outstrips pretty much everyone else in that league. So they again talking about clubs and where they are
and with it.
Cumbernauld, and you no longer have Clyde playing there who would be vying for sponsorship in the same area. Cumbernauld Colts have the availability to access everything that they need. And it's just pretty much time Doyle and Gorman are giving to
Kello have just missed a penalty.
Oh man!
So and Carluke are down to 10 men now. It's quite interesting. What kind of crowds do you think that Cumbernauld Colts get? I mean, I don't imagine it's going to be much at all.
I don't know. I certainly wouldn't have thought it would be any higher than any of the West of
West?
Scotland.
No, I wouldn't think so. I don't know. I'll be honest. I've not seen any of the Cumbernauld Colts games.
And if you're thinking Pollock maybe draw 500, sort of most games, would Cumbernauld be above that?
No chance. I think they would be. I think Cumbernauld would be lucky if they got more than 200.
Again, at that level, you're probably wanting a lot of girlfriends, sisters,
family, and all that. I know.
You know, sad to say, but you know, at least they're going. But they have got they've got the setup. They're in the right area. You know what I mean? It's they're playing the right area. If they can build that and get people going along with that,
make themselves attractive.
Yes,
I think Doyle's put himself in a good position in terms of what he's done there, because I know that we were talking earlier on the day about potentially they could be getting relegated into the West of Scotland League, but since he's been there, they've been better, and they've picked up important points when they've needed to.
And one thing I'll say about John, I'm out at a lot of games, Saturdays, midweeks. John, when he wasn't with a club, was at every potential game he could go play. So his knowledge within the West, he's keeping himself.
Sorry, guys.
Oh, by the way, mate, you got an update.
Glencairn 2, Renfrew 3.
Yes,
we're back in the game.
Just went away for a lap in the building there.
Lewis Lovering has put Beath now 3-0 up against Darvo, which is a concerning day for them. Celtic B have extended the lead against Cowden Beath. Lewis Dobby makes it 3-1 to Celtic B against Cowden Beath. And Trinent have just pulled ahead 2-1 against East Kilbride. Appreciate East Kilbride are eyes on other things, but goal scorer for Renfrew is Kenzie McChrystal.
All right, they just brought him in.
Yep, so 3-2 to Renfrew. Sorry, guys, to cut you off there.
No, don't be that. No, as we're saying, I think it was just about John. You know, I've seen him at a lot of games out and about, and if anything was to go the wrong way for Cumbernauld Colts, his knowledge in the West is probably as good as anybody. He was involved in management, but you know, where he can see a game, he's seen a game. Where he's talking to managers, he's talking to managers. So he kept himself very relevant in that world. So, you know, there's a talent pool he can dip into in the West for Cumbernauld Colts, but and working with Gomes and his experience with Broomhill and at Rossvale and different places, I think they're going to be great. But I think, you know, in the position he left himself, John's in a great place to succeed.
I think next season is where Cumbernauld will really see the benefit. He's came in this year, he's had to consolidate, he's taken over a club that are not where they want to be, not where they expect to be. Yeah, he steadied the ship, and I think he will be dipping into the West of Scotland for his talent pool.
Well, let's look at it right. Staying kind of Lowland League based. Clydebank are going to be playing. It's almost guaranteed that it's going to be Musselburgh. They're in a really strong position, good side. Who did Musselburgh play in the West in the Cup though? Did they not lose to?
Was it Cumnock?
Was it? But you've got Musselburgh, and I'm going to have a wee look in a second. It's now 3-2 to Craig Mark against Les Mahigo. Les Mahigo have pulled one back. But how do you think that will pan out? Obviously, it's dependent on. I'm going to have a wee look in a second while you guys are talking.
Yeah.
it's dependent on what happens against the South. But how do you see that going with Clydebank and Musselburgh guys in the playoff?
You know what? I've only seen a tiny bit of Musselburgh this season. I've seen them against Hibs. They played in the Scottish.
Yep. Hamilton.
Hamilton, sorry, in the Scottish was Clydebank and Hibs. And they look good. To me, they're a wee bit of an unknown quantity. I don't follow a lot of the West, so I've not seen much of them. But by all accounts, they look like a really good team. It's so big for Clydebank that I don't know. To me, I want Clydebank to go up. I want to see that progression through the West. I think the quality in Scotland comes from the Central Division, comes from the West.
Yeah.
I think Musselburgh have done extremely well to be successful with the talent pool you're picking from out in the East. It's not as big. Clydebank, for me, will have enough to do this, but geez, man, the whole season.
I know that's the issue. So it's like we spoke about. It's so horrible that, and I appreciate it's football, but it's just horrible the whole season.
It's something that's happened to me when I played youth football. We were one of the first teams to join the Strathclyde second division. It was all Strathclyde first with Celtic, Rangers, and all your big teams. And they opened up a second division. We won the second division and get told that we were not getting a trophy until we played the winners of the first division, which was wholly bizarre at the time. They did not want a small team winning a trophy through that league, so we had to play a playoff against Dundee United to get anything out of a season. Now we beat Dundee United, which was not wanted, was not expected. The league people at the time gave a wholeheartedly horrible account of ourselves by congratulating us and spending 10 minutes talking about Dundee United who beat in the final. But it was a weird situation to be in where you could potentially play all season. I think you've succeeded and done something, and then you play, you're set up to fail. So it's a bit of a weird thing, but I think Clydebank would give everything up this season. They would give a beating run, they would give 3 trophies up to guarantee themselves.
The South of Scotland League's really interesting. I'm looking at it just now. Newton Stewart are sitting top of the league with 47 points, 21 games played.
Yeah.
They only have 1 game left because they've only got a 12-team league. Dalbeattie Star are 2 points behind with a game in hand. Creetown are 2 points behind. Stranraer are now out the running. So today I think it could be their decider. But then you've got Lochar Thistle, who are 9 back with 5 games in hand.
Yeah, I went to a South game 2 seasons ago. Now let me just check the league if we pull this up. But it was the prelims of the Scottish, right? So we had a team where I'm just going to try and see who it is here. I'll find it for you. But they were playing against an amateur team, and the amateur team beat them. And that to me was a big eye opener for
Dalbeattie Star had a really bad season last season in the Lowland League. I mean, they were like horrific at times. I'm sure it was last season.
Abbeyvale it was.
Abbeyvale. Yeah. So you're looking at Dalbeattie Star potentially winning the league, and I don't see Musselburgh and Clydebank struggling against them. It's
nothing against the South, but no, I think the East and the West are just a level or two above.
I think the thing is, Dalbeattie Star, they've scored 87 goals. So
they're conceding nearly 2 goals a game in that league as well.
They're 38, and you're looking above Newt Stewart, have only conceded 24. Lochar, is it? 5 games in hand, so what's that, 15 points?
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
So that would take them up. But see, to be fair, I don't think anybody in the West has even heard of Lochar.
No,
well, I mean, they played against St Cadoc's recently. Sorry, just a comment on YouTube Live. Any update on Bell's Hill score? I think they're winning 3-1 or something like that. They're winning. But Lochar, so they pushed St Cadoc's pretty close. But we had Josh obviously has a very good knowledge of that level for being at his time at St Cuthbert's. And St Cadoc's, that was when they were in that spell where they get the doing for Troon, they get the doing for Thornleywood, and Josh was saying he was very surprised it was even that close in the game. Really? So it tells you, and we know that the South isn't as strong. But maybe I touched on it earlier with the arrogance sometimes in the West. You need to make sure you go and get the job done, and then have the big one-off playoff game. If there's anybody, do you actually know the date of the playoff games?
No.
I would imagine it would be maybe the 17th of
Saturday the 17th, because the Premier League's meant to finish on the 10th.
yeah.
Then you've got the other league matches on the 17th, so I would have thought either the 17th or the 24th,
maybe the 24th. It's one. Hopefully we could get down to that. It'd be quite nice to go and see what that one is. But we're starting to get to the stage in the day where results are coming. Massive goal in the top of the table clash with Kilwinning and Petershill. Jack McMahon has put Kilwinning 2-1 up. Kello finally get that third goal, so they are 3-1 up. Thornywood pull a goal back against Cumbernauld, 1-1 there. Ardeer are 4-2 up against Glasgow United. David Goodwillie with a goal there. Excuse me.
No surprises.
Still 0-0 with St Cadoc's and Drumchapel.
Surprised at that. I thought there was goals in that game.
Yeah.
Nah, no. Giffnock 5-3 up against Saltcoats. Greenock comfortable in the game now. They're 4-1 up against Perthshire, so a big result for them.
Greenock needed that one.
Nah, definitely 6-0 to Lanark against St Anthony's. 2 goals in 2 minutes. Make it 6. Cowdenbeath pull a goal back against Celtic B. It is now 3-2. Girvan score another against Lugar. It is 5-1 to Girvan. Good result there, as we touched on earlier in the show. Glencairn have scored a late equaliser against Renfrew. 3-3 with Glencairn and Renfrew. 88th minute there.
Paul, I've got some good news for you. The Port might have went on to win that game 6-1.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Full time at Mabel. It is 2-1 at Atherley. Ashfield have pulled a goal back against Vela Clyde, so it's 1-1 in that game there. Half time at Gala is 1-1 with Gala and Broomhill. It's a gutter for Renfrew. I actually think that could be a goal that really might stop them. Got a really good game at Celtic B and Cowdenbeath. Just before half time, it is now 4-3 to Celtic B.
And this is the league that you say there's no
goals. I know they're showing me up here. Full time at St Cadoc's and Drumchapel 0-0 in that game there.
That doesn't benefit you.
Nah, it's a very nothing game. 92nd minute. Renfrew 4.
Yes.
Glencairn 3.
Blow the whistle now, eh?
McLernon in the 92nd minute finishes up 4-1. 4-1 to Whitlets against Rioka. We'll get Jimmy on the phone after this. That's a massive goal.
That's brilliant.
That is huge.
30 seconds ago we were saying how it could be such a spanner in the
works. The place will be going crazy, isn't it?
Maybe we need to take a wee trip back.
Renfrew are saying, what a finish. Take a bow, Ben McLernon. So 4-3 to Renfrew. That's draw with Atherley, beat Kilwinning, and then potentially going to beat Glencairn. That's form, and I love how I contradict myself so quickly here. where I'm going and saying that could be it done for Renfrew in terms of looking to...
And then bang! The goal comes in.
Never in doubt.
Cali Braves are 1-0 down to Linlithgow at half time.
I'll make a promise. If we get promoted this season, I will wear my Renfrew strip for the next show.
Do you know I have a Renfrew strip of this as well?
Was it Brian's?
No, it's mine actually. I bought it. Me and Dak went down. We got somebody running on the roof in here.
Yeah.
We have the young team running on the roof. That's only what you get in Parkhead.
He keeps it interesting.
Injury time. Cumnock 3, shots 3. I think we need to watch. We don't have somebody coming through. Go and have a wee look, guys. Full time at Perthshire, it is 4-1.
Let's get back to that. So you bought a Renfrew strip?
So myself and Dak, when we did the vlogs and we would go to games, we would always try and buy something from one of the clubs that we went to. So we had like an Atherley scarf. We got something at Ashfield. Do you know? We never went to a Cumnock game actually. We just went down and did a show there. But we always try to get stuff. So I've got a Renfrew goalie top and a Renfrew strip. So I'm wondering if we're going to get somebody coming through the roof here. We've got full time at Muirkirk. 3-0 they've beaten Cali Locals. I think that's a really good result for Muirkirk.
That is a big result.
Because Cali Locals are a team who can go and take points off of teams, and I think Cali Locals have to be commended because I think they've had quite a good season as well. In the last few weeks, Cali Locals, granted they lost they've lost the last couple of games, but they did 6-5 against Bonneton. They always score lots of goals, but not today. How are we on there, guys?
I think we're safe. If they're on the roof, they're hiding. It's too high for me to see, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. Looking through, legs dangling through the ceiling here.
Cali Local are one of these teams that, as we said, they are unpredictable.
Yeah.
But they can cause issues
Yeah.
at either end of the table. Teams looking for promotion or teams looking for relegation, they're just so unpredictable.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely. So that second division, we've touched on the top teams, comfortable wins. Lanark, a really comfortable one against the Ants, 6-0. But what does that mean for the Ants? I can't see them staying up. I said it a while back, and I just don't see them staying up.
They've played too many games. They've started to take heavy defeats. So it really is a massive rebuilding.
I think it's tough. I think Monty, I've spoke to him a few times since he's taken the job. I think it was always a rebuild for him. It was always. I think it was going to be a bit of an eye opener for him as well, coming from the 20s to the West. But really, I think they just want to put their heads down, focus on next season, and really think that they're going to be playing division down next season.
It'll be interesting to see how many of these ex-players are brings with them.
You'll probably find an influx. You'll probably find somebody. I mean, the people you trust. They know him. They know how he operates. They know what's expected. But they're probably focusing on next season now, and it's looking like it's going to be the same.
Obviously, when we first went in, we heard always doing a fitness test, a blood test in the first night, and doing body fats and stuff. So the way that he thinks,
standards.
He's professional and set standards.
100%. Yeah.
So having a full summer to work on that and bringing in the players that we want, that, and bear in mind the guys aren't getting money down there as well. Yeah. So it's how he then remodels the whole club.
Yeah, and I think that it's the kind of club. I think I've known Martin and his dad for a while now. Felix.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd love to. I think they will be every time. I like the vision they've got and how they look at things there. And fingers crossed to give them the time.
I think
they seem like there's a good connection between them. They all seem to be on the same page. But give him the time, I think Monty will do a good job. I think he's a good kind of professional type manager, as you said. Doing all the right things early on, giving a pre-season, giving a time to work on it. Starting to look at your own players, bringing in certain people. I think, I think it'll be a different offer next season.
The answer to that. I mean, I know the McKenna family as well.
Yeah.
Nothing but lovely people. When you go to the ground, you're well looked after.
Always.
You're never forgotten.
Apart from Mark making up models, putting them on track.
That looks good. Full time at the Meda, 1-1 with Kilbirnie. Full time, Rob Roy win 1-0. So that's going to have implications. Just before we do that, Largs have gone 3-0 up against Clydebank. So an emphatic win, and it's full time at Glencairn. So 4-3 to them through days. So that's a really important 3 points for Renfrew picked up there.
It's a big 3 points that Glencairn don't get as well.
I think it's big for Renfrew. I think that just keeps him in the
that's Renfrew now on 49 points. Glencairn on 43 with the 3 games in hand. No guarantee that they're going to win all 3 of those games. Oh, heartbreaker for Craig Martin the last minute. Les Mehigo make it 3-3.
10-man Les
Mehigo. Cumnock 3 shots 3. That's that finished. Hurlford have lost 2-1 to Johnson Borough. But I don't think that they've got too much concern with how it's going about them below them.
Exactly, yeah.
Gartcairn fall back into the relegation zone with 4 games remaining. It's really, really tight. They are now second bottom in the league. Shots are on 17 points and Benburg going to 19 points. Gartcairn are in trouble.
I think Shots will take a lot of positives today.
Aye.
3 goals against Cumnock, who have been on a good run. So Shots are taking a lot of positives for that today.
Moving on to the not so many goals Lowland League. Berwick are 4-1 up against Broxburn at half time. Cumbernauld Colts 3-0 up against Bo'ness at half time. Celtic B 4-2 up against Cowdenbeath at half time. Civil Service Strollers 3-0 up against University of Stirling. East Stirling 1, Gretna 0. Galaferidine 1, Broomhill 1. Linlithgow 1, Cali Braves 0. Trinent 2, East Kilbride 1. That's full time. Ben's got their 3 points, according to their Twitter. Well deserved 3 points. So at the bottom end of the table, it's It's very, very interesting. So as it stands, Darvel sitting bottom with 15 points with 6 games remaining. Gart Cairn on 16 points with 4 games remaining. Shotts on 17 points with 6 games remaining. And Benburb on 19 points with 6 games remaining. I think for the Bens, do you know, for Gart Cairn, I think if they don't pick up full points in their 4 games,
they're down.
It might be a bit too much for them because the other teams have got just that wee touch extra space.
It's those 2 games that, I mean, it's going to be crucial for them. Yeah. So you're right, Gart Cairn really need to start motoring.
And the Bens, I know they've won today, but they always seem to pick themselves up for Pollock. So how can they beat Pollock at Newlandsfield and then potentially go next week?
I know, bogey teams and all that. But I mean, potentially, what do you think, guys? You know, Gart Cairn, what if they do go down there? Are they a straight back up team? Are they?
Is there any guarantee?
No, I mean, there's no guarantees.
Is the backing still going to be there?
Well, that's what I was thinking. You know, is potentially, you know, the same people involved, the same financial backing.
I've heard that it's going to be slightly less financial backing, but still decent backing.
Oh no!
So
I think
no major changes.
No, nothing crazy.
What it will do is it will be interesting to see what players want to remain if they're under contract.
I think you could see a rebuild coming. Full time at the Thorn, 4-0 at Kilsyth. Massive result there. That's a really interesting one for that game there.
That's not a score that done anyway.
And I think there's a wee bit of occasions maybe get ahead of Thorn on this one. You've Jay Della, you know, you probably get one of the biggest crowds you're getting all season. And Kilsyth want to be that team to show that, wait a minute, you know, we're a decent team and we're there and thereabouts. So
to be fair, we were probably the same opinion. We were probably overlooking Kilsyth too much there.
I was looking at a potential draw, but
nearly winning it.
A potential draw, but still miles off. We're going to go to a quick break before we get to hopefully get a couple of managers on in a phone-in section of the show. So if anybody would like to get in touch with us, don't hesitate to get a call in. You can get us on WhatsApp at 07396 717 412. That's 07396 717 412. Just send us a wee message and we'll give you a call back and you can have a wee chat with us about anything. If you're a Clydebank fan, delighted you've won the league, but are you gutted that your perfect or your unbeaten record is gone? Your invincible season is over. Largs, absolutely tremendous season again, Arnie. Just keeps plugging away with him.
And Largs got beat last week as well.
I know, and it's interesting to Gart Cairn. But look, we're going to take a quick break. And like I said, if you want to get in touch with us for the phone in, then don't hesitate to ask, and we'll be right back after these. Seven three nine six 717 412, or you can get us on X and Instagram at SatFootball Live, and you can get us on YouTube as well if you want to put a comment in the comment section there, then you're more than welcome to, and you want to talk about for today's games or anything at all, then don't hesitate to get in touch with us. So guys, what's for you, West of Scotland, result of the day, Des? What's your result of the day?
The shock of the day, I would say, is the Coastside beating Thorn.
I'll back that.
I would say that's the. I don't think anybody has seen that coming. The best result of the day is obviously Brentford beating Glencoe.
That's a
The Port result's no bad.
yes, the mighty Porto. I'm delighted. Do you know what? Thanks for reminding me. I'm just going to put that on the ticker tape for the YouTube live. Port Glasgow promoted.
I've just seen on Facebook there they done a wee live at the end of the game, so I think that's a few happy people down there.
I'm delighted.
I know Alec there as well, and great bunch down there. I've been down there a few times this season, and nicer place you couldn't go either. People are bend over backwards to take care of you. Great bunch.
Definitely. It's been
Well done.
a bit of time coming for them as well, so I think that it was a stick on that themselves and Knightswood and we're going to get promoted for quite some time, and I'm still struggling to see, particularly after today with Knightswood being quite convincing. I still think Knightswood are probably going to have enough to just go. But don't get me wrong, that can all change. Like if they lose next week and the Port win, the Port go top of the league.
Look, Knightswood have financially backed up at this season as well, so you kind of expected them to be up there. But how do you think the Port will go next season?
I think they'll do pretty well. I think that at worst they'll be mid-table.
I agree with that.
I think they're a good.
I think they compete really well next season.
I think they're
I think that's two strong teams going up next
season. Do you know? I think see if the both of them can even just add a wee bit extra. I think the two of them could be pushing for promotion. I genuinely believe that they're, for me, Port Glasgow are a second division team.
Yeah,
I think they're a second division team, and I think they've got enough quality. So I think they could be competing next season.
I know Knightswood, they're potentially going up as champions.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what business they do during the summer as well. I know they've obviously tried to back it as well as they can.
Yeah.
Don't
get me wrong,
they won't be out of place in that league.
And I think it gave them a massive advantage this season, just having that backing, and being able to kind of bring in a wee bit extra quality in certain places of the pitch. But I think the two teams will go up next season. I think they'll do really well. I think there's two great teams. Lots of good goals, lots of goals scored between them. So I think if they can strengthen just that back next season, I think that you'll find them competing very well.
Just the volume of goals they score will keep them in.
The goals. I mean, just taking away today's goals, 96 goals and they scored 60 days, so they scored over 100 goals this season for Port. Knightswood 72 goals. They've only conceded Knightswood 26 and Port 35. That's
crazy. We're going to.
You look at the Port's goals.
Sorry, guys, we're going to go to Jimmy Quigley, the referee manager, after the 4-3 win today. Jimmy, we've got a very, very happy Mr. Roach in the studio. I'm quite pleased myself for you guys, to be honest. It looked like in terms of I was watching the updates coming in, it looked like a really exciting game. You lose that goal really late on to look like it was going to be the draw. How did it feel when Ben scored that winner in the 92nd minute?
I was absolutely delighted for the boys, especially Ben as well. He said a kind of tough time since he's been going back for Clydebank. We know he's got talent and we know he's a natural goal scorer, but he's been unwell and unlucky and had a wee bit of loss of form. So I'm delighted for him to get the winner, especially.
How happy are you with the fact that you've had so many the promotion or title contenders in the last month? You get the draw with Arthurlie, you beat Coinnan, you've now beaten Glencairn. That really shows a bit of character and the fact that you guys are really looking to push to try and get yourself promoted and potentially winning the league.
We spoke at the start of the season, after last season, it was about consolidating in the league and then try to get as high as we could. We had a really good start of the season with a wee dip in the middle, and now we've had a wee run of form at the right time. A lot of belief in the players, every single one of them. Somebody said there's not a lot of goals in the team at the start of the season, and that's us playing against the top scorers in the league.
And you can see they've got quality, they've put the ball in the back of the net, but we managed to outscore them today, which was really, really pleasing. So in terms of going for promotion and title stuff, it's just one game at a time, as I say every week. We'll not be looking any further than Maybole next week.
When I've had managers giving us the wee updates and the voice notes, and they say this stuff, and I'll say what I say to them, I'll say to you, I do not believe you, Jimmy. But look, what do you think's been the change that's catapulted you against the teams who are right up there and like I said, title contenders with you? What's been the change with the wee dip in form early in the season now that you're just going and picking up maximum points against these teams?
It's hard to put a finger on it, but what we've done is we've taken the front six, we've got really good wingers and strikers at the club, right, and they're not all perfect, but they're scoring goals at the right times. I think they're dangerous going forward. So look at Jojo, I think that's 20 goals for the season he scored now for the Midland Park, which is unbelievable for a centre mid. So we're scoring goals at the right time, and the right good collectiveness against each other as well. And see, once they've got on a wee run of form, even earlier in the season, they don't want to get up too easy, so they can defend properly as well, and they've got something to hang on to. So better teams let you play as well. Arthurlees, Peters Hills, Kilwinning and stuff will let you play a wee bit more than other teams do, and I think that suits us as well.
Jimmy, it's Des. How you doing, mate?
Hey, Des.
I've nicked myself back down there. I've not had a chance to do it recently. They're on a form that reputation now is absolutely incredible. I mean, what are you doing? What have you done? Can you think of anything significant that's changed to see this?
Well, not necessarily. I think when we go to training, we keep the training nice and light and but a high tempo. But everybody's enjoying being at the club as well. I think that's really important. You forget that football you're meant to enjoy it, and the best way to enjoy games of football is by winning them ultimately. Yeah. But the sessions that we put together, the training and stuff, is really competitive, really high tempo, but really enjoyable. And they've just managed to start taking that into the games with them. They're quite a young squad. After last year, we were trying to consolidate and having a shot in the league, they've now get a bit between their teeth and realised that a lot of them can play at this level, maybe a bit higher. So they've just kicked on for there with the self-relief test.
And that's exactly what it is, because if you're breeding confidence in training and it's then reflected in the past, everybody wants to be there. Everybody wants to be involved in training, wants to be involved in the games. And you know as well as I do, when the community come to New Western Park after a game and you walk in there at the post-match, everybody's thriving, the place is thriving. So, no, brilliant, mate. Really, really delighted for you.
Cheers, mate. Thanks very much.
Jimmy, it's Gaz here from VSN sponsor. I've got family down in Renfrew. What do you think it means to the town down there for the folks? I mean, there's been a lot of success from Renfrew over the years with Scottish Cup and things like that. Do you think everybody's going to buy in now and really back you?
I'm hoping so. We seem to have a big massive turnout for the Scottish Cup back in the day, and then everybody disappeared again. So when Celtic and Rangers are on or away from home, I'd like Renfrew to be the first port of call for a lot of these supporters. The community stuff we're doing with all the boys' clubs as well, and the girls' teams, try to get them involved and get the parents down. So there is a real community feel at the club just now. So hopefully, moving forward, that will increase the gate and get more people doing and more people interested in what we're trying to achieve at the club.
Well, Jimmy, I hope that is the case and that the community get behind you. And you've got 3 games remaining for the season. You've got at home, I'm just having a wee look right now, you've got Maybole at home next week, Villa Clyde away the week after, and then in a couple of weeks you've got a wee bit of a break. You're playing Peters Hill at New Western Park on the 17th of May, potentially for a promotion or potentially for a title. Hopefully the fans can turn out for you on those games. But look, Jimmy, I'll let you go and enjoy your weekend, mate. Congratulations on your excellent win again today.
Thanks very much, guys. Speak to you soon.
Cheers, Jimmy. See you later. It's just a massive result. I think that the job he's done there is unbelievable. I spoke about it not so much last year because obviously the difficult season, but was this Jimmy's 4th season in charge, 3rd season in charge?
I think.
But 3.5.
3 of it, yeah. Aye. Because when Clarkey, when Martin left originally, Clarkey stayed on. Jimmy was part of the backroom team with the 2 of them. Mm-hmm. He's played there for numerous years.
I was going to say he's a local guy.
He's a local. I mean, dad's involved.
It's inbred in him. I mean, I've got family there that know Jimmy and the family. My daughter grew up with his family and things. Sorry, my girlfriend, not my daughter. My girlfriend grew up down in Renfrew with the family. So, I mean, they're ingrained in Renfrew. So, I mean, it must mean so much to him. So much to the people around about him.
He's done great. And listen, nobody be celebrating higher than Jimmy or lower than Jimmy when he gets it. But and obviously it's my team. So I'm just hoping that we can see it through. And also we do this on a Saturday afternoon, so it sort of limits the time. But I need to get myself down.
No. For the games that are going on, still get a late kick-off in the First Division. Vale Clyde with a massive goal with 11 minutes remaining. They are now 2-1 up against Ashfield, which puts them in a really good position. Gets them ahead of Irvine Meadow after their draw. It's a good win for them because they're in a similar position as Renfrew, where there's no many games left and all the points need to count at this stage in the season. It's just went 3-1 now to Vale Clyde. So a couple of minutes later, they've scored again. Cowdenbeath and Celtic 4-4.
Wow,
4-4.
Great game there.
In that non-scoring.
That non-scoring league.
Goals in that league.
Massive goal at the bottom end of the table. As it stands, Gala Ferradine are going to be relegated today. They are 2-1 down. Alex Fairley with the goal for Broomhill there.
That's I think Sanders going to feel very, very good going in tonight.
If they can hold on, that's a huge one. It's massive. I mean, that puts them also with Cumbernauld and Berwick, both comfortable wins as it stands right now.
Every point they can take that separates them from Gala Ferradine, every point.
And that is the thing. It'll be 6 points if they win today with one game remaining. So Gala will be relegated if the game stays as is. But quite an interesting one to get into. That is, Des, you've touched on it there, where we do this on a Saturday, so we don't get to go to games. Guys, obviously you still get to go to see a few games and stuff.
Yeah.
That is something that's disappointing for me, is like we don't get to go. And obviously I've had personal stuff on where I've been working and stuff on a Sunday for the last few months, so I've not been able to make any of the cup finals, which the Lowland League does. I'd said he had invited us to the Lowland League Cup final, which was really appreciated. Next season, though, we will start getting ourselves out to cup finals and stuff, and Sunday, Friday night games and stuff, and covering some games.
From my point of view, as you know, through work, our biggest profile's the West. So I get out to a West game. I'm going to visit a VSN team versus a non-VSN team. Go to a wee man in the match. Midweek games are absolute gold. I'll go out any day of the week to catch a game of football. Happy to get involved as much as we possibly can next year and ramp this right up. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
But
we just need to grow this as much as we can. I mean, I appreciate everybody that listens and watches.
I think having a physical presence at the game as well.
Definitely. We've been invited to a couple of different grounds to do the show from the grounds, but
you can't do. You've got to be careful with that. You can't do commentary, but you can do your live show.
So I'm not really sure how that works, because we've got a lonely clubs offered us that, which I think is great. Linlithgow being one of those teams, it'd be excellent. It's something we need to speak to the studio about to see how that would work, because it's something that we'd like to, like you said, to try and grow it as much as possible. Because
you think about it. We do this at a ground. You stay in for an hour after the game. You're getting supporters coming in. You can have an open forum of questions. You can really open an audience up to this. So Paul, where I stand with this. I think this is potentially an amazing thing for the West. And the
we're now at the stage, just with this show alone, with people listening on the radio, on East End Community Radio, which is greatly appreciated that people tune in to the station. And then the audio version of the show and the YouTube version, we're getting 600-700 people a week listening to the show, which is...
These guys are saying, get us out there for questions and answers. We'll put one of the nights coming up.
We do.
Shortly.
Well played, Des. I love a plug like that. Remember,
I'm teeing it up here for you,
on the Pyramid Promotions Twitter page, our pinned tweet, what I've posted as now. Go into that if you want to come and see a live night. We've got Meet the Managers, so we've got Gordon Moffat, Clydebank manager, Adam Hopes, the Drumchapel manager, and Stuart Maxwell, the Pollock manager. If you're a Clydebank fan, it's your first opportunity. You get to go and hear your manager talk live.
Massive fan bases.
To talk live about how important this season's been for you, and potentially it's at the 30th of May, so you could potentially looking at speaking to a Lowland League manager on that. Drumchapel fans, it's just across the bridge for you in Erskine, so come and support Hope. Pollock fans, how have you felt about this season? Get yourself out and try and get a wee chat.
The only thing is you need to put up with us two idiots.
Aye, but it's only £10 for a ticket.
That's a steal.
Bring your own bottle.
That's even better.
Bring your own bottle. We'll get a bit of grub on for you. pub across the road will be open as well. We can just get down and get a couple of beers, and we'll have some beers. And if you want to come and get a chat to me and Des, and we'll be there, guys. You're going to make
Yeah,
it.
I'm sure I'll be there, Paul, with bells on,
'Cause
and a few other boys. will
Trying to
come
get try to get the Pyramid Promotions and the Saturday Football Live guys at it.
I'll
So
be there,
everybody
I'll be
should be there,
definitely.
because I think Johnny's going to make it as well. I'm going to go just now to Josh Gardner. 3-1 win over Royal Albert today.
You like that?
So that's a massive win for Ross Vale today. Just waiting to see if Josh picks up the phone. I've literally just told him to pick up the phone.
Hello.
Josh, 3-1 win today for you guys. You must be delighted with that.
Aye, mate, we were excellent, to be honest with you. We were absolutely outstanding. We went 1-0 down about 10 minutes in, and that was about the only time I wasn't happy with during the whole game. I thought for 80 minutes, but we were brilliant. I thought we controlled large parts of the game. I was really, really pleased. The only thing I wasn't pleased about is we conceded an our set piece today, which, to be honest, I wasn't happy about. I went a wee bit mad about that, but apart from that, I thought we were excellent. It was a matter of time before we got. It was just a case of when we got the time and we got the next goal back, and we got it early in the second half, and then we just kicked on.
Kello won today. Other results didn't completely go in your favour, but now looking at the league table, you are sitting a point off at Easterhouse, and with a game in hand, you're 8 points behind Kello with 2 games. Played the same amount of games, but you've got Kello twice to play. Does today's result give you a bit more confidence, knowing you're going into these games with the potential of picking up the points that you need?
I think, I know that as well. I think the reconstruction plays a part in that as well, because you don't know if it's happening, if it's not going to happen, if new proposals are coming out, if they're not. You also don't know there's 4 places open up if Clydebank go up. So I think it's just important that we try and win as many games as we possibly can. We finish as high as we possibly can, and if that means that we can go into one of these games, maybe the last game of the season against Kello, and we've got a chance and we've got a fighting chance on that day, then I think I would probably take that now, if I'm being honest with you. And I think that's all we can really ask for. But see, when I see he's playing as well as we did today, there's a wee tinge of what could have been, because I do think that sometimes when we're on it, we're brilliant, and other days we can just be so substandard, and it's something we need to try and eradicate for our game, to be honest. But aye, that's kind of the long-winded answer to that, mate, to be honest. But I'm pleased about the day, but the situation we're in now, I think I spoke to you through the week about it, like, we're literally week to week now with who's available and how many injuries we've got. Like, we had 11 out today, and we were really struggling. We had people playing that probably shouldn't have played, if I'm being totally honest. Like Matt Russell certainly shouldn't have played. He's had to be basically stretchered after the day. And he's definitely probably going to be out for Saturday. But again, it was just the way we were the day, and we just had to take it as it is.
Josh, it's Des here. How you doing?
How you doing, Des? How's things?
All good, mate. All good. I think what you're saying there, when you're carrying that many injuries, it puts such a strain on the squad, but also put a strain on you and your coaching team as well, to how you're going to manage the players, who can you select for the first place anyway, and then it'll have impact upon what training you're doing during the week. But that's what you get when you come to this part of the season, isn't it?
Do you know what it is as well? We've actually brought in a few new players recently, and it's trying to find the time to bed them in. And normally I like to give them like maybe a few games, maybe dip them in and out of the games and get used to a style of play, rotations and stuff that we work on. But like the day we had to put Matthew Adams in, for example, the day for the start, it was his very first start. I think he's literally only played about 10 minutes for us before that. So I was a wee bit concerned about that, but I thought he was brilliant. Like, he showed a right good intelligence. He just understood everything that we're asking me. I thought his timing was excellent. I was really, really pleased with him. So you get the wee nuggets as well that you throw them in and you're like, I wonder how he'll react. But he was absolutely brilliant today. Now I'm looking at it next week. Now I'm thinking, like, he's actually in a right good spot to come in and play for us regularly now. So I'm really pleased with what I've seen for the guys that did come in. And I thought we've signed Sinky last week, and the experience he's got and what he brought to our team today, and the way he calmed us down, the way he's just helped us keep possession and stuff, and he's out of possession work was probably what we've been crying out for all season, if I'm being honest with you. So I'm grateful to have somebody like him about the squad for the remaining games as well.
Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, mate, but we're hearing today that league reconstruction won't happen next season. It looks like it's going to be 26-27 season. But like you said, if Clydebank go up, then you could have the potential of a 4th spot coming up, which again, you're in a great position for that. But look, mate, we're going to let you go because I know how much you like to talk and I need to speak to other people. So so you have a good weekend, mate, and I'll catch up with you in the next couple of days.
Lad, enjoy your weekend. See you later.
Cheers, mate. See you later. We've got a couple of questions coming in on YouTube Live, which I appreciate. Peasy saying, looking like East Kilbride and Brora for the playoff. Brora are currently winning 6-2 and Brecon are winning 2-1. So it looks like Brora are going to get that spot. Bobby H has put a comment on. Bobby, we'll come back to that once we finish with a couple of more interviews. Going to speak to Kilsyth Athletic manager Barry Hanlon after their phenomenal 4-0 win against the Thorn today.
All right, Jay.
Bailey, Des and Gary never back to the day. I thought you were going to get something. A 4-0 win today, mate. That was a phenomenal result. You guys have been a real good bit of form, but I don't think many would have seen quite as emphatic a win. 4-0. How do you feel after it?
Listen, we're all delighted to be fair. It's been a pretty tough week in terms of a couple of wee things happening at the club with obviously us moving on and some changes and organising stuff, and then we've had loads of injuries and illnesses this week, so I think we only had about 8 or 9 at training both nights, so we were feeling a wee bit sorry for ourselves, I think, coming into the day, but the boys were brilliant, so 4-0, I'm really happy.
Before we talk about potentially what's going to happen next season with you guys, it's unbelievably tight. It looks like the Thorn are still going to go and win the league regardless of the result today. But yourself sitting on 50 points, played 26, Greenock on 48, played 25, Ardeer on 48, played 26, and Threave on 41, played 21. What are you saying to the boys over the next 4 games to just get yourselves over the line?
For us, it's just about remaining calm, being as kind of composed as we can. We know that it's for us, it's probably not in our hands now. There's a couple of good teams with a game or 2 on us, and then obviously 3 we've got a couple of games on every day. So we know we've got a massive game next week against Ardeer, and we're just, it's the old cliche like you hear on the telly and that all the time, it's just one game at a time. But that's generally it. We're just trying to remain calm, do our job on a Saturday, and we'll just see where it takes us.
Bailey, on next season, obviously spoke to you a few weeks ago about it, and it's public knowledge now that you're moving on. What does that mean for the club as a whole? Because obviously you have been so instrumental in everything that's happened in the last few years since the club stepped up. What does the future look like for Kilsyth without you there? Sorry, mate. I don't know if you heard me there. Just looking to see what the...
I think that... You got me there still?
Yeah, mate, I shoot back. So...
I think there'll be something...
Just don't know.
I feel like you're pretending to have a bad signal, so you don't need to speak about this. I think we're losing you, Bailey. Maybe try and come back to you, mate. Signal's not particularly good.
He's got in the background.
He's in Doctor Who's talent.
That's difficult. It's the issue with live radio, I suppose. But as we were talking about, I know you have seen it on the chat. As we're talking about for going live at a ground, Toby has told me that he will move heaven and earth to make sure that it works. So that's potentially, if we don't get it done this season, then it's something that we'll be definitely doing next season a couple of times at least.
As you say, depending on what Toby can do, it could be into the last game of the season, kind of live gig somewhere.
Imagine a league decider with us at the final game of the season.
I'm sure we could pull out all the stops or something like that.
I know, a cup final one or something as well could be amazing.
Potential all around there.
But we've got a couple of managers I'm waiting to see if we can get them on. But
it'd be something to do. It'd be something good to do, like maybe once a month, once every 6 weeks.
I think every 6 weeks would be good to get that. We've got a question in from Bobby H. Gents, what would you say is your favourite West of Scotland ground to watch or play? Guys, what would you say is your favourite?
I'm going to kind of go back in history a little bit here. For me, I grew up being a Pundit fan. It always had a little something for me, Pundit ground. I played a bit. I never got to play. Well, I played on the park, but not the juniors as it was. Played a wee bit for the 21s and whatnot. But for me, that always had a wee layer of Pollock. You know, I was a young boy. They were always a very successful team. They were high pairs at the time. You know, the boys had all the fancy boots and everything, and you always looked and thought, I'll get my boots bought for me if I play for Pollock. You know, all that kind of stuff. They just had a little something. It was a local team. So for me, if I was going slightly further afield than Pollock, there's loads of places I've been to, but another place that just makes me feel welcome, and I've said this before, was Ardrossan. It's a lovely place for me to go. Great relationship with the people down there. I could say the same about Ladeside and a load of other places, but yeah, I'm just going to stick with Pollock as my place to watch junior football.
Des, where was the best place you've coached or played or managed at in the West of Scotland?
Western Park, the original Renfrew Juniors used to be brilliant.
Oh, yeah,
I used to remember you would come down these steps, coming out of the old wooden building, down the steps onto the pitch, carried the wee half-time board around and stuff like that. So yeah, I've got a lot of. Also, that's nostalgic. The best place to referee. None of them, because they all hated me.
Well, yeah, it goes without saying. Nature of the beast.
That's it. But I don't think you can really see by Newlandsfield. It's just got that. It's got that smell about it. It's nostalgia or something.
It seems ingrained in the football. Seems ingrained in that part. It seems so much history comes with it. You know,
it's a big one for me in the West of Scotland. Barring the new grounds, I don't know if there's a ground I've no played at. Because I was fortunate enough as I got older to fall down the divisions rapidly and played in every single division. Newlandsfield does have something special, but I remember, because the Meadow were massive at the time when I played against them, that was always quite good as well. It felt quite special playing there. Do you know, I never liked playing at Old Western Park.
Did you not?
Didn't like it. It was just...
I used to really wake up on Saturday morning and I'd look at my mum and dad's kitchen window. If the flag was up, you knew the game was on. But I'll tell you one ground I loved refereeing at and I loved coaching at, and it was probably the best playing surface. Kilburnie
was good.
I agree with that.
I remember getting
a
can of beer thrown at me when I played there with Mary Hill. It was good though.
Not a full can, obviously.
I know. It was dregs in it. For me, Beechwood was good, and the derby, that was always good.
I remember being I wasn't a young referee, it was coming to mind. I was in the juniors, and remember, you know, when you come out the dressing rooms at Talbot, you've got the big shutting doors. I remember, was it Talbot coming up? It's Talbot against somebody, and I'm blowing the whistle. Now, if you're a clever referee, you blow the whistle when you're the furthest away, closer to the furthest away, because you see the doors shut. And a young linesman comes and goes, "Come on, hurry, something like that. Just take your time, son, take your time." And as the doors open, go, "There we go." You can't report what you didn't see.
We're going to go to Rob Roy manager John Gibson, where they've won 1-0 today away to Ardrossan, guys, what you're talking about. Gibby, 1-0 for you guys today. Massive result, particularly with a couple of results going in your favour. So you're now out the relegation zone. How do you feel the game went? From Gary Muirhead, who was getting his updates, he thought it was a really good performance for you guys.
Listen, it's 3 points, but it was a hard one down there. I thought, to be fair, I don't think we were at it the first half, how we've been the last 2 games, we've been at home. But listen, it's 3 points. Second half, a wee bit each of Beakside, they probably had a couple of good chances because they're still a good side, Ardrossan, but it's 3 massive points, as you say, the day. And the results have went my way, which is good and puts us up the table a bit. Said before the game, we probably the last 6 games we need to win 4 to make sure we're safe, and so that's us 3, and for 3 out of 5 now, so that's been a good time. But it was a massive game, and I honestly don't think we were great today. We've not been great.
You're in the position just now where you're sitting in 12th place. Obviously, you've leapfrogged Mabel and Kilburnie today. There's only 2 points separating yourselves and Mabel, who are in the relegation zone. But on the flip side, if you're talking about winning 4, potentially those 6 that you had left before today, you could be looking at still finishing mid-table, and that shows just how tight the bottom end of the table is.
Well, you know, everybody talks about this league, so it isn't. It's really tight, and it is. See, you stick about 3 or 4 wins together, and you go right up that table, and you'll see that. I always say in this league, if you get 60 points, you'll go up. And I don't even think 60 points will get you up this year. I think you'll only probably the 55s, maybe 54s to get you up this year. So that's how tight it's been this year. And there's a few teams still in their shout getting up.
Looking forward to your remaining 5 fixtures, you've got Glencairn and Arthur who are both looking to try and go and win the league. Then you've got Blantyre and Ashfield who are already relegated. Massive result or massive game in the final day via Clyde. What's your thoughts on your remaining 5 games?
I think they're a difficult games, like yourself, and we've actually done really well against the top teams this year, so we've played really well. So, listen, Disney Phase is going to play in these teams, but there's 5 games that we potentially could win, and there's 5 games you could potentially lose in this league. So, we need to make sure we make sure we're right. Get ourselves focused for the last 5 games, and we've not got a game next week, which is good because we've picked a couple of injuries up and a couple of boys carrying knocks, so it's good to get a wee week's break.
Look, Gibby, I'm going to let you go and enjoy your week. Congratulations on another cracking result today. So well done, mate.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Bye.
See you later, mate. We're going to go to a quick break. We're actually only got 27 minutes remaining. It's been that good that I'm missing out breaks and everything here. I've been caught up in the good chat. So I know Toby's listening just now. He was at the game earlier. Toby, you never left me out any of the adverts for VSN, so you need to get a finger at me. What's going on with that, honestly?
Toby, come on.
To be fair, he'll end up messaging me in a second, chinning me. But look, we're going to be right back after these. And welcome back to Saturday Football Live. We have 25 minutes remaining of the show. So if you want to get in touch with us, you can get us on WhatsApp at 07396 717 412. That's 07396 717 412. You can get us on X and Instagram at Sat Football Live, and you can get us in the comments section on YouTube. So we just had a comment in there from Ross Faulkner. Another scrappy game at Newlandsfield. Pitch has a bad disease and making it difficult to play. Blatant dive from Davy Winters to win the penalty and the match for Benburn. That's quite interesting. He played most of the game. I seen it. He took himself off with about 10 minutes to go. So thanks for that, Ross.
You'll see that later because they're quite good in the media. So there'll be plenty of coverage of that.
As I said last week, that's both Winters brothers going back to their old stomping ground as well.
That's right. And then no love lost with them. We're getting the penalty, a potential dive.
I'm sure
potential dive. I won't say whether it is or not. Ross has seen it. I haven't, so I won't make a comment.
I'm sure we'll see it later on. Make it on.
I'm sure we'll speak to Matthew.
We'll need to get the refs view doing the West of Scotland and the Lowland League games.
Certainly. We're recording on Monday, so I'll have a look at it.
Dip into a couple of these, see what's happening.
Going to see how we're getting on in some of our Lowland League fixtures. Time's been running away for us a bit. I'm just trying to catch up with these games. But Gala have pulled one back. It is now 2-2 with Gala and Broomhill. That's a really interesting one. They're still 3-0 as it stands with Civil Service Strollers and 3-0 with Cumbernauld Colts. 5-4 with Celtic B and Cowdenbeath. That's one for the neutrals. But we obviously had last night as well a really good result for Albion Rovers to get the 3 points for them last night, which was, I think, 3-0 they won last night. Civil Service have conceded a goal to University of Stirling, so it is now 3-1 there.
It's 3-2 Civil Service.
Oh, 3-2, just seen the update there. That's another goal for the visitors.
5-4 Celtic Cowdenbeath.
Who said that there's no many goals in that league?
I don't know.
I need to have a look at themselves.
No, because on Lithgow Rose, Caligraves is only 1-0. That's a disgrace. 5 goals.
Ross Faulkner has sent us another message in saying Robbie Winters said it was a dive. Also, so take from that what you will. Well,
controversial.
We'll take what you're implying from that, Ross. We appreciate the comment again, mate. Remember, we're getting to the end of the show. We've got 22 minutes remaining, so if you want to get yourself on, we're looking for people to give us a call. We had a call in the very first episode, which was months ago, and we've not had anybody phone in since. Somebody phone in. It's 07396 717 412. That's 07396 717 412. Or put your comments on, just like Ross has on the YouTube live. Toby sent me a voice note there, but I can't listen to it because we're still on air. So I'm not sure what he said.
I keep that fine.
Aye. So bottom end of the Lowland League is looking really interesting there. 2-2. It keeps the hope alive for Gala. I don't know if it's going to be enough because it's still 3 points with one game remaining. But they do, like we touched on, they do have the easier game in quotations on paper than Broomhill.
Massive pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Massive pressure for them. I still think Broomhill will be the team to start. I think Gala will be the team to go.
I think you could be right. I think that a part of me, I don't want Broomhill to get relegated, but a part of me would be quite interested to see
them down,
and then they would be in our West Scotland Premier League. It'd be quite interesting for that. But I think Gala could get something for Gretna next week. How far is, I know Gretna is more on the west side of the country, but how far is Gala from Gretna?
I don't know.
Well, find out for us.
Let's do it.
Let's get checking out. Get maps up to see how far it is for them. Because I'm wondering how much I travel that is. I know they're both kind of border teams, but the borders obviously covers quite a significant
to
Gretna. So obviously still could potentially be quite a significant travel for
hour and 15.
An hour and 50. That's quite
That's not terrible.
I know, but it's not great either though, is it?
No, I mean you're 2.5, 2 hours 45 travelling. All in. I mean it's not brilliant, but if I'm right here, I'm looking at about an hour and 16.
That's it's still quite a jaunt, to be fair.
54.8 miles.
That's still a lot, isn't it? I suppose it's basically the width of the country, isn't it, at the borders.
Yeah.
So we spoke to Des, gave his result of the day, guys. What's your result of the day?
Result of the day? It's hard to see past the side score. We all went on. We did mention that, the possible party poopers are in there and, they could cause an upset. So it's hard to see past that one for me. Yeah, I'm going to go with this on that one. I mean, the Kilside 4-0 against Dawn. Nobody's seen it coming. So yeah, Kilside. A phenomenal result, that one.
I think that's probably the result of the day in terms of the scoreline. That's definitely the scoreline. Well, I'm still waiting to see Cambuslang and Larklaw. I've not seen anything on that game.
Obviously, Clydebank losing that
3-0. I think it's convincingly 3-0. I know. Is that a hangover for last week?
It's going to be an element of that. The league was done. There's potential changes made. The energy levels maybe just dropped a little bit. Completely understandable. There's intensity and things like that. So, that's a big result.
And Largs did have to pick up after last week because that was a shock.
Yeah, that was a terrible result.
We have another comment in for Ross Faulkner. I'm appreciating you getting involved with. Ross is saying he's heard a rumour that Broomhill are talking about folding if they are relegated.
I wouldn't be wholeheartedly surprised at that rumour. if I'm honest.
Do you know what? I wouldn't either, because I know that a West club, had tried to see if there was some way they could buy over Broomhill and move into the Lone League.
Really?
So I'd heard that was something that was going to happen, something that they were trying to get to happen, but it's not going to happen.
That's exactly what we talked about earlier. They don't have the pathway, they don't have the academy, they don't have the, that structure behind them, the same as that a lot of other teams do. So if they went down, would they
Funny,
back?
financially they'd probably be better off going down as well.
But yeah, well, I think 100% right, because the wage bill's going to be a lot higher in the Lone League than it would be in the West. So,
and what
There's better crowds as well.
what loyalty do they have as a background as well? Do you know what I mean? Like fan base and
obviously they'd surely be bouncing to a different ground next season, because they like to do that every season. Surely, but the thing is, joking aside, it can't be cheap for them getting Dumbarton.
No.
That can't be cheap for them having.
Even the season with Gormsby, I think they were at Alloa that season. It's not cheap going anywhere.
I know.
Obviously,
they had a season at Lockburn as well, didn't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That is the issue where this isn't like
the nomads.
For Broomhill, I remember playing against them when they were in the Lone League, when they were BSC.
Yeah.
That was like, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 years ago. But that's the issue, is if in that time they've not been able to build a big enough crowd to come and watch. They still don't have their own home ground. And I understand it's a different argument as well, because a lot of teams get put into the Lone League just to start it. And it's a thing that a lot of people have said, where the West teams, particularly the Premier League sides, are fully established clubs, the ones that would be coming up, excluding maybe St Cadoc's. I wouldn't even. I know that Drumchapel won't be going up, right? Because of the licensing. But for me, Drumchapel have a decent support.
Yes,
they've built up that, so they're in a good position.
Structure, they've got a massive academy, they've got the pathway, they've got the development.
They've got the local community involved.
Exactly.
Where St Cadoc's, through no fault of their own, are struggling with that.
Oh, massively. I mean, we've talked about this, and I've kind of got a slight insight. A coach for St Cadoc's, and we've got Warren that rents space out the building, so I get a chat to him every now and again. But that's the biggest problem for that club. And I said that the changes that are going to happen next year, probably there, can only benefit the club. People will see it because the money's not going to be there. The big signings and all that. But if you can get these boys that are buying in from the pathway,
parents,
actually, I mean, right now, and they're not like hearing it, but the St Cadoc's players currently there aren't there because of St Cadoc's fans, and they're not there because St Cadoc's means anything to them. But that's a massive opportunity they've got with the amount of kids in that setup, that you're actually playing for the team that you played for your whole life. Jumping ground topping, not having a home ground.
See if they had a ground locally, you're probably able to get 100 odd people to come and watch.
They would easily get 100 people coming to watch, and they're currently doing a lot of work in the background trying to get the buy-in. A lot of coaches and kids, when they're playing, it's very much a coach, and I don't want to have no time to take my boy to see the seniors and whatnot. If they had a home ground locally, you would see very quickly over the next year or 2 or 3 years really building that up, and it's getting the buy-in from the pathway that's going to be the success story for them.
So see, I'll big them up because obviously my team, but that's what Brentford do.
Exactly.
All the young kids get their season tickets for free, and people think, oh well, you're not making money. No, but you're coming with a dad, you're coming with a mum, you're buying a pie, you're maybe having a pint after the game.
Programme and stuff
But simple things these teams can do, get the youth clubs. Fibs on them and getting big ball boys for the day. I took my team down to St Cadoc's.
That gets you probably 20 parents coming.
20 parents coming now.
Easily.
What for my boys as well, who are 2011s, who are all, I'll find my position out for FIFA, and they're all not out kicking the ball enough. It showed the intensity, the level, the skill, the hardness, just that close up to football at that level. And the boys were buzzing, right? So they're
do that to a different team every week.
Exactly. Right? So you see a different age group every week. You've ball boys, you're coming out with the team. See, even just walking out with the team, it's for us. They've been a Celtic or Rangers or whatever team you supported, but see, getting the opportunity to walk out with the team.
I know.
They're all wearing their wee straps, the same as
they're all on the pitch at half time kicking the ball.
Yeah,
I know.
And that's what we grew up with.
It's funny. Like my youngest, he's 5, and he's properly football daft. Loves football. Right. I've taken him to see Celtic, right? Because obviously everybody knows that watches. I'm a Celtic fan. taking him to see Celtic, and he really enjoyed it. Took him to the Falkirk game.
Yep.
And fortunately enough, 7 goals in it. He really enjoyed it.
That helps.
But see, when I take him to the west of Scotland, he loves it. He loves going down to watch the Port because he gets to go in the park.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
And it's
Get
like-
involved with the
Aye.
team. You know, it seems every place you go, the kids are on the park hitting the ball about. That is what it's all about. You know, and if you can get your kids down to your local, I mean, it's key to these teams. But when you see their faces when they're involved with that, when they're walking out with the team, when they're wee ball boys, when they're that close to the pitch, you can go to a Celtic Rangers game. You know, you're so far away from the pitch, you're so far away. You know, you're hearing the management shout, you're hearing the players shout at each other. You can hear the tackles hitting, you can hear the intensity, you can hear it when he gets up for the header and crunches the ball. And that's what the boys get an absolute buzz from, and that's what they need to do. So they need to get clubs like St Carrots need to get a local park somewhere close enough that they can call local and really get the buy-in.
So I've got a picture here, just when you're talking about kids going there, I've got a picture here on my phone, right? And it was us going to watch Darvel, right? So it was Martin and I going to watch a game. I've got a picture of my son's face, right? How happy is he?
I mean, that you can see it in his face. You can see it in his eyes.
Aye. And because he's at a real game, he's getting a hot dog, watching
experience,
and he's
isn't it?
right up close to seeing it. And as I say, I look at that picture all the time and it makes me smile because I think, I know how happy he is there.
And you know, this is where clubs sometimes miss out. See if you get boys that want to, see if you open a dressing room door half an hour before a game and just let a wee boy look in there.
I know, it's amazing.
I'm not talking like getting in there and disturbing people's my phone's lying there, you let people in. Open the door and let people see in. I know as a wee boy, I mean, I'm a terrible adult for wanting to open the door like mine. Right? I've got that inbuilt in me. Right, I've seen my back. He's a wee boy seeing that dressing room. You go somewhere like Darvel, look at that dressing room.
I know, it's brilliant.
Right? You don't get that everywhere, but
again, I'll refer to Renfrew. You look at the social club that's attached to it. After the game, both teams come in because there's food laid out for them, and
you're seeing the players.
Get to see the players. You can go and talk to them.
I mean, to these players, I know, you know, they probably don't realise themselves what it means to be wee guys, but they've been a wee guy at one time, played themselves. You know, they know what it's like for the wee guy to come up, pull your jersey, and I've got a picture of this.
I was actually looking at my phone there. You've talking about the picture with Finn. I've got a picture with me, my son, and my dad. When I was involved at St Peter's, when I kind of stepped back for coaching, but was still partly involved with them at New Western Park, right behind the goal with the nets. And my dad's holding my wee boy on the wee fence bit, and he looks like he's buzzing. And you're like, that's how close you can get. And I think it's so important. And it's like Ross again's commented on St Cadoc's and Gartcairn, both struggling to get the communities involved. That's where it is so difficult when you don't have. I know Gartcairn do have a proper home, but that's where I think like Broomhill, if they came into the West of Scotland Premier League, everything's closer. You've got potentially, say, Clydebank don't get promoted. You've got Clydebank, you've got Pollock, you've got better crowds, you've got the Talbot coming through. It's just,
it's exposure.
It's so much. In the Lowland League,
yes,
that boring game between Celtic and Cowdenbeath is now 6-4 to Celtic. Sean McCardle with the goal, 6-4. Bowness have pulled one back with 9 minutes remaining against Cumbernauld, 3-1, probably too little, too late. It was still 2-1 at Trinent against East Kilbride. And as I say that, Cammy Elliott in the 92nd minute has just put it 2-2. So
2 seconds. Guys, what did I say to you about 20 minutes ago when I pointed to that and I said, what was this?
He held up 2 fingers in each hand to say 2 each.
That'll end up 2 each.
Yeah.
And
by the way, Des, before you leave, you can write 6 numbers for me for the lottery. So crystal balls come through the day. That's good.
Well, lads, I know I'll leave it right to the death every show, but because I don't need to this week, because we know how it's played out. In PG versus the Pundits, both gone for Broomhill as it stands, 2-2.
Yeah.
Both gone for the Talbot, correct.
Yeah.
Both went for Atherley, correct. Both went for Lanark, correct. Both went for the Thorn, wrong. And both went for Kello, correct. So we could be looking at potentially 4 or 5 out of the 6, and it's a proper outlier that's as it stands that stopped us forgetting that.
I think that from going forward, we need to either if we get the the results and we went for the same ones, we need to put someone else in because you can't have you having splinters on your backside.
Just trying not to lose.
It also is.
No, I agree with that.
He answers after us.
Yes, I do. That's why I said I'll go first. You go first. We'll take turns and we'll go game for 6 games. So we'll go 3 each.
Definitely the decider in there, don't you? Something does you put off or something.
Because it's.
That's.
I know that. Look,
Your record's that poor.
Do you know what it was? He was just getting worried there that he had to steady the ship, get a draw under the belt.
Do you know the only result I'd have gone differently was I'd have went for a draw with Thorn and Coolside. That was the only one I literally would have went differently, and I'd have been closer than you two.
Part of the bus.
I've absolutely. I was going to swear there, but I bottled it. So it's just I can't believe I've only won 1 out of 14. It does not look good for me.
Either that, it's just that your guests are just
top draw. That's it.
I would lean towards that myself. You've just been unlucky, Paul.
As I was saying, for the Cumbernauld game was the result we're waiting on.
Yeah.
They have lost 3-0 to Lark Hall. So looking at that second division, as it stands right now, the bottom 3, Craigmark on 11 points.
Yeah.
4th on 20, played 23. St Anthony's on 22, played 26. Les Mahago on 25, played 23. And Cambuslang on 26, having played 26. If I'm going to put my colours to the mast here, I think Cambuslang, the Ants, and Craigmark will be the 3 relegated.
You think?
I think so.
I don't think it was a great surprise. I don't think Cambuslang.
Fourth maybe. But Cambuslang might get fortunate and avoid it. But the Ants and Craigmark for me are definitely going to go.
I think Ants are a definite. Craigmark, obviously. For me,
they're both going to make up that amount of points. Les Mahago, you've still got 7 games to play, which is a lot of games.
Again, there's no guarantees. I know he'd rather the points in the
Les Mahago now have 7 games to play.
Yeah, I'm going to go with both on that one.
Looking at the top end of the table,
yes.
Whitlett's on 60 points with 3 games remaining.
Yep.
Nielsen on 58 with 4 games remaining. Muirkirk on 51 with 7 remaining. Lanark on 51 with 5 remaining. And Lark Hall on 46 with 6 remaining. Could Lark Hall? I don't think they will. It's very outside bet, but mathematically it's still possible.
Of course it is, but I think Muirkirk's result today, I think I mentioned this earlier at the start of the show, that if they got the 3 points a day, Muirkirk, that was just going to steady them. And I think that was a massive 3 points in the day. So I think Muirkirk are going to have enough to stay up.
I think Muirkirk will be.
I think it's a phenomenal season for Muirkirk. They're going to be extremely happy with this, but yeah, I think they've just done enough.
They've got the game, and as we've said, the games in hand don't mean points on the board.
No.
I think Whitlett's and Nielsen, they are sufficiently enough ahead. Do I see Lanark Muirkirk?
Gala 3-2 up on Broomhill.
Oh.
Thanks for the update, PZ. 3-2, it's finished. Broomhill could be relegated now. That's them bottom of the league.
Down to the last game of the season.
What did we say about potentially Bruno's
folding?
Is this?
Wow, that changes the landscape massively.
That could be a massive nail in a coffin.
3-2.
I didn't see that coming.
I thought that a draw was the worst that we're going to get today, and that is.
Randall's going to feel that tonight. Randall's going to feel that tonight. It's going to be a bit of reflection on what's happened today.
3-2. So that's massive. That for me, that's result of the day.
Yeah.
That's Gala Ferradine getting himself off bottom spot.
That's going to be a bit of a pill to swallow for John and Gomes with this one today.
That's a big result in that lowland league.
You know, and everything stands in Gala's favour, really, doesn't it? Even goal
they've got goal difference. They've got Gretna and Broomhill.
Who's got next week?
They have. Is it University of Stirling? 2 seconds. I will check that out.
Again, the University. It's not a team I'd like to go home or away and expect it.
Is it like 2 seconds? I mean, that's bottom of the league. That's their goal difference is seven worse.
Yep.
And civil service they have next week.
Civil service.
So that's a tough game. Civil Service have had a really, really solid season, sitting and
They've
won.
so Civil Service have guaranteed 8th spot. I mean, that's a good solid season for them, and
I do want to finish strong as well.
I
So
thought-
Gallifrey will take the advantage going into this one.
I think so.
that's a huge one. That is a massive
They're
one.
going on confidence, man, and they're going to get next week flying.
Um,
To dig that out of the days, that's a massive. That's resilient today.
Yeah, definitely. Before we finish up, we've only got 3 minutes left. We will talk about Wednesday's match in the First Division. Arthur Lane co-winning. And the boys are having a party in the roof, aren't they?
So I was talking to one of the committee, Arthur Lane, just briefly, not about the game on Wednesday. I said I was going to try and make it down. It's massive for both teams. I think that's a tough one to call. I mean, obviously Arthur has been really on the big push for promotion. Co-winning can really make a big difference. They get a result. So I'm going to do my very, 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 very best to get down to that.
I know.
I might try and get along with that.
Sadly, she's back shift this week, so it's not going to happen for me.
So,
Second Division next Saturday. Huge game in the Second Division. Nielsen and Muirkirk.
is it Nielsen at home?
Nielsen at home.
Nielsen at home.
Guys, can you make that?
I might be able to make that next year. To be honest with you, next few months are festival season, rugby season, and all the rest of it. But I will do my very best to get to that.
Because that's an absolutely massive game.
Yeah.
In that Second Division.
To be honest with you, I've started talking to Nielsen as a youth club, so it'll be good to get my
your base scene there.
team. So,
I
might do my very best to get to that one.
In the Third Division, the Thorn will probably get it over the line next week. They are playing Wishaw away from home. Big game is going to be it'll be a featured fixture, I can guarantee it. Cosyth and Ardere in the Third Division next week. It's going to be really interesting.
2 points between them at the moment.
VSN Derby there as well, Paul.
And feature fixture in the Fourth Division, I'm already calling it right now, next week. Kello and Port Glasgow, or do we go for Easterhouse and Rossvale next week?
I think
that's probably the featured game for you.
Yep, and we have the Scottish Junior Cup semi-final with Johnson Borough and Largs at 5:30 next Saturday. Maybe get ourselves straight to that game for the second half.
Where is that?
That's at Kenny Park, Kenny Park. So
I could probably make that whole game, depending on what my afternoon goes. Nielsen at Kenny, I can make that.
So
2
that's
games in a day there for me. Brilliant.
Dedication, guys.
You can't beat it, mate.
and a sheer your wife wanting rid of you.
I love that as well.
Do you put the slip in for Drew? Do you want wages on a Saturday when you're at the games?
Of course I do.
I tell you what, that's brilliant.
Well,
we don't get paid for this, so
listen, I don't get paid for my days out. It's just part of the brand ambassador's job to put their shown face.
Well, the thing is,
We could be brand ambassadors.
we could be exactly.
Not a problem. I'll see what I can do. But listen, we'll have you guys sorted out the kitchen as well.
I know that it would be nice to get ourselves down to a couple of games as well. And do you know what?
Midweeks we'll do it.
Let's go to the Borough game next week when we finish. We'll go to that.
Yeah,
we'll go.
I just hope Charles not listening to this.
Aye.
Taking a long run up.
A wee trip into that would be excellent. I think that'd be quite a good one to finish up. But look, we are down to the last 30 seconds of this week's show. It's been an absolutely tremendous show. I've loved it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this week. I think it's been a great one. Everybody, thank you very much for watching. It's been greatly appreciated. Thanks for your comments on YouTube. Thanks for everybody who updates us at games. Remember, tomorrow, Johnny Bailey. I'm actually not even sure who Johnny's got on the show, but it's well worth watching. It'll be live on YouTube.
What do you mean you don't know who he's got on the show?
Who does he have?
Me.
Is it? Oh, no. I tell you what, on that note, I think it's the perfect time to finish up. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. We hope you have a lovely, lovely weekend. Take care. Cheers.